Chapter 1200. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders, guests, and bosses, hello. Welcome everyone to the Asia-Pacific auction. Today, everyone is gathered here for one thing, and that is for our public welfare and charity. I'm Wang Yiping, a nationally registered auctioneer. What is my auction certificate number? 9527. I hope to be friends with all the leaders, guests, and bosses in the future. Wang Yiping, a well-known auctioneer in Huaxia, smiled and said to everyone below the stage, "Now, I announce the start of the charity auction." The momentum of this auction was absolutely great. Usually, dozens of people would attend an auction, but this time was different. The bosses, assistants, and the auction house staff made up nearly 300 people in the venue. It was absolutely shocking. Wang Yiping said with a smile, "It's hard to buy what you love with money. Everyone has their own preferences. I believe that all the bosses will definitely be able to buy what you love today, and half of the money you pay will be put into the charity fund. This will be a good deed that benefits the country and the people. On behalf of all the beneficiaries of the charity fund, I also express my gratitude to all the bosses." Most of the applause below the stage was from the assistants. As the bosses, they only wanted to see the good things as soon as possible. Otherwise, this trip would be in vain. Next, let's invite out our first auction item. Wang Yiping pointed proudly at the hostess. The hostess was holding a tray wrapped in red cloth with a carving that looked like a tree root on the tray. "Because the client has instructed us, we will keep his identity a secret for the time being." Wang Yiping said, "The first auction item is a carving from the Ming Dynasty's Yongle period. It was carved out of red sandalwood and was a collection of a first-rank minister. It is said that it has the effect of blessing promotion and wealth. It is definitely a priceless treasure. Bosses who like it must seize this opportunity. The starting price of this item is 800,000 yuan, and the increment is 50,000 yuan. As soon as Wang Yiping finished speaking, someone raised his hand. It was Fatty Cheng. 850,000 yuan. Boss number 83 bids 850,000 yuan. Before Wang Yiping could say anything, another person raised his hand. 900,000 yuan. Boss number 47 bids 900,000 yuan. Anyone else? 950,000 yuan. Boss number 12, 950,000 yuan. Oh, 1 million yuan. 1 million yuan. Boss number 83 bids again, 1 million yuan. Wang Yiping's eyes swept through everyone very quickly. Not a single movement in the venue could escape his eyes. It seemed that Guo Tiancheng really liked this old tree root. He raised the signboard at the right time. He had raised the signboard twice in such a short time. 5 million. Luo Huafeng directly opened his mouth. He didn't raise the price by 50 or 50,000. He directly raised the price by 500,000. No one knew if he wanted to show off his wealth or if he really wanted this thing. Ma San'er whispered into Su Yun's ear, "Brother Yun, this thing is already priced at this price. Any more, and even if it's for charity, it would be foolish. This thing was worth 1 million at most. Luo Huafeng's purchase is equivalent to donating 500,000 yuan. Should I donate more?" Su Yun wasn't here to find treasures. He was here to do charity. Since this thing was worth 1 million yuan, he would pay 200 yuan. This way, the person who donated it wouldn't suffer a loss. He would just treat it as donating 1 million yuan to charity. 1 million was a large number to Su Yun, but to Sky Entertainment Group, it was nothing. It was not even worth mentioning, not even a drop in the ocean. "Are you serious, brother?" Ma San'er was stunned. It seemed that Su Yun's purpose here wasn't the same as the others. He was here to donate some money. But before Su Yun raised his signboard, Guo Tiancheng was unhappy. He felt that Luo Huafeng was targeting him. F***CK. Isn't he just the boss of a heavy industry? What's so great about him? He's looking down on me, a rice seller. Guo Tiancheng was furious when he thought of this. "Fine, you want to compete with me? Then let's try it." The mentality of a nouveau riche was different from others. Once he was unhappy, he would use his money to smash the other party to death. 3 million yuan. Gua Tiancheng doubled the price. Only AF * King Nouveau Riche could have this kind of aura. Gua Tiancheng's tone had a feeling of, who else can do it but me? It was quite mighty and domineering. Everyone present was shocked by Gua Tiancheng's aura. No one was blind. The bosses had also brought their assistants. To put it bluntly, everyone knew how much this thing was worth. No one would pay 3 million yuan for it. Only a fool would want it. Su Yundu shrugged his shoulders. If he were to speak again, it wouldn't be charity anymore. It would be a feud. Luo Huafeng also looked at Gua Tiancheng. He smiled and clasped his hands. It seemed that he had admitted defeat. Gua Tiancheng was very proud. Of course he felt proud. He had won the first auction item and even gave him a chance to show off his wealth. Let's see who dares to look down on him now. This was a common problem for Nouveau Riche. They always felt that others were looking down on them. They always felt that others were better than them. Even if others didn't mean that, they would still think so. Most Nouveau Riche were like this. 3 million yuan. Boss number 83 bid 3 million yuan. Wang Yiping said excitedly, "Are there any other bids?" 3 million yuan going once. 3 million yuan going twice. 3 million yuan sold. This was really a good start. Other than Gua Tiancheng, who thought that everyone else was impressed by his wealth, the others didn't think so. They all thought that this guy was crazy. It wasn't worth it to spend 3 million on something like this. Those who had money to burn were crazy. Auction item number 2. Wang Yiping's interest was also aroused. As the second hostess came on stage, Wang Yiping began to explain again. There was no doubt that these things were good. Ma San'er could easily estimate the price for Su Yun. There would be some small competition for every item. Su Yun came in the spirit of charity. He also bid for an old Nishan inkstone. Inkstones were indispensable for the 4 treasures of the study. Sage Master Confucius was born in Nishan Confucius Cave, so this Nishan inkstone must have spiritual energy. Although he spent 1 million yuan to buy this antique inkstone that Ma San'er said was worth 350,000 yuan, Su Yun was still very satisfied. Because Gua Tiancheng wasn't the only Nouveau Riche in the venue, unexpected things could happen at any time during the auction. Su Yun kept waiting for the 3-colored Tang King that Wang Yi mentioned. Finally, Su Yun saw hope when Wang Yiping introduced the 9th auction item. The item was covered by a layer of gauze. The hostess carefully placed the item on the auction table. This auction item is amazing. Wang Yiping's saliva flew everywhere. Everyone must have heard of Tang tricolor. There are all kinds of tricolor, all kinds of high-end and classy. And this time, our 9th auction item is the most high-end and classy Tang tricolor in history. 3-colored Tang King. The 3-colored Tang King was finally here. Su Yun narrowed his eyes. Ma San'er also held his breath. This thing was absolutely amazing. His heart was pounding at this moment. How could he not be nervous and excited? The moment to witness a miracle. No, it was the moment to witness history. The gauze of the 3-colored Tang King was removed, revealing its true appearance. It was quite a perfect work of art. In terms of luster and image, it was definitely a work of art with full marks. However, the historical value of this thing was even higher. It represented the level of craftsmanship of an era. Ma San'er's brows wrinkled. There was something wrong with this thing. Chapter 1201. This tricolored Tang King is definitely a rare treasure. I don't think I need to say more about how valuable this thing is. Every boss knows better than me. Wang Yiping said, the owner of this item has also patted his chest. There is only one tricolored Tang King in the world. After that, Wang Yiping said passionately, the starting price is 10 million. 5 million going once on the stairs. As soon as he said that, a bunch of people raised their hands. In an instant, Wang Yiping's eyes couldn't take it all. After all, There were too many people at this auction. It was the auction with the most people he had ever organized in his life. Suddenly, there were so many people asking for a price. It wasn't appropriate for him to point to anyone. 30 million. Finally, someone helped Wang Yiping out of his predicament. This time, it was Guo Tiancheng who suppressed the crowd. He patted his big belly and seemed satisfied with his bid. 35 million. This time, it seemed that someone didn't agree with Guo Tiancheng pretending to be a rich man. They quietly increased the price. The first bid was 5 million. Even these bosses felt the pinch. Their money wasn't picked up from the ground. It was earned through hard work. Guo Tiancheng thought for a while. 40 million. Luo Huafeng, who was not far away from Guo Tiancheng, spoke again to go against Guo Tiancheng. 45 million. After stating the price, Luo Huafeng glanced at Guo Tiancheng. It was as if he was saying, "Brother, I'm sorry. I also want this thing, so I can't let you have it. The tree root from before doesn't matter, but this treasure can't be taken away by you so easily." There was always someone better. As soon as Luo Huafeng's voice fell, before Guo Tiancheng spoke again, someone else spoke. 50 million. It seemed that this thing was really a hot item. It was still the same sentence. No boss was a fool. They all knew the value of this thing. It was the one and only tricolored Tang King in the world. The value of this thing couldn't be calculated with tens of millions, right? There were so many rich people. Ma San'er cursed in his heart. But why were these rich people so stupid? He hadn't even seen the item in person. It was only because it was an auction house that items with an appraisal certificate would be put up for sale. However, shouldn't such a valuable item be suspicious? Shouldn't such a valuable item be worth careful consideration? Shouldn't he take a good look at such a valuable item before making an offer? Adding 50 million as soon as he opened his mouth. Did he really think he was burning money like paper money? Brother Yun, there's something wrong with this thing. Ma San'er could not let Su Yun fall for this trick. The smell of this thing was not right. He could not smell the smell of the underground. If this thing was not dug out from the ground, then there was an even bigger problem. If it was really a treasure, it had been exposed in the outside world for so long, and only now surfaced, it was too strange. This thing could only have just appeared, and if it had just appeared, it should have that special smell. Ma San'er was very serious and solemn. At this critical moment, he didn't believe in anything but his nose. What's the problem? Su Yun said lightly. While the two of them were talking, the price of the item had already reached 70 million. Although there was a pause between each bid increase, it did not stop. What did that mean? It meant that this thing was very attractive. Anyone would be attracted by such a huge attraction. I can't say, but I feel that something is wrong with this thing. Ma San'er said, it doesn't have the smell it should have. So you mean, I shouldn't buy it? Su Yun asked. Ma San'er nodded. Of course not. I'm puzzled. Don't those people feel that there's something wrong with this thing? It's going to reach 100 million soon. It's a bit crazy to bet 100 million on its authenticity. 100 million. Su Yun suddenly raised the number plate in his hand and shouted the crazy price that Ma San'er said. Damn! The audience was in an uproar. 70 million jumped to 100 million without any hesitation. The boss of Sky Entertainment Group was really extraordinary. While the audience was in an uproar, Ma San'er almost jumped out of his chair. Wasn't this asking to be slaughtered? 100 million? That's crazy! But under the gaze of everyone present, Ma San'er couldn't say anything. He could only suppress his resentment and suffocate himself to death. 150 million. As soon as Su Yun's voice fell, a low-key voice called out the price. Although it was only an increase of 5 million, it still made everyone look over. Although this voice was low-key, 5 million was on top of 100 million. It was not something that everyone could afford. Guo Tiancheng suddenly felt that he paled in comparison. Why did these people speak so casually? He always thought that he didn't care about money. But this time he was convinced. He finally understood what it meant to be awesome. After everyone's gaze shifted, Ma San'er quickly whispered into Su Yun's ear. "Brother Yun, are you crazy? 100 million? What kind of treasure do you think this is? Believe me, there's definitely something wrong with this thing. It's true. If I lie, I'm a bastard. Don't take it. If you take it, you'll lose it." Once there was an appraisal report for this thing, so what if it was fake? People who didn't know anything would still buy it. This was a strange thing, but it was true. "Don't worry. No matter how much I bid, someone will definitely bid 5 million more." Su Yun faintly smiled and glanced at the bidder from the corner of his eyes. Before Ma San'er could ask why, he bid again, 120 million. He wanted to vomit blood. Gua Tiancheng, the big rice king, really wanted to vomit blood. How much rice did he have to sell to earn that much? Being in the entertainment industry was all about making money. Moreover, it was easy money. He could easily add 10 or 20 million without batting an eye. As expected, Su Yun didn't disappoint Ma San'er. After he bid, the other party immediately added another 5 million. He was still calm and collected, not even a little bit ambiguous. Su Yun was now well aware of the other party's intentions. He definitely wouldn't give in. Ma San'er widened his eyes and quickly grabbed Su Yun's wrist. He signaled Su Yun to stop messing around with this guy. If he wanted to be scammed, then let him be scammed himself. 150 million. Su Yun bid again. He didn't give Ma San'er a chance to stop him. Ma San'er felt a sharp pain in his heart. F***ck, forget it. I don't care who it is. The price was quickly raised to 255 million. The scene was dead silent. The auctioneer didn't say anything either. He just watched the two of them compete with each other. This was really the most amazing charity auction he had ever hosted in his life. Finally, Su Yun stopped bidding. It was about time. He had confirmed what he needed to confirm. Seeing that Su Yun didn't open his mouth again, Ma San'er breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he scolded Su Yun a few times in his heart. He thought that when Su Yun took the thing, he would regret it to death. By then, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. 255 million. Going once. Wang Yiping looked at Su Yun as he hammered the hammer. Su Yun didn't react. Wang Yiping then continued, going twice, going thrice. Sold. F***ck. Sold. An auction item worth more than 200 million. Wow, who is that? He's so awesome. Does he think money is money? That's right, that's right. Even Chairman Su of the Sky Entertainment Group couldn't stop them. This is too cruel. He's really rich. That's incredible. 255 million. For a moment, the entire venue began to discuss. Gua Tiancheng was aware of the gap between him and the truly rich guys, and he was no longer complacent. His little bit of money was indeed awesome in the eyes of ordinary people, but in front of the truly rich, it was still nothing more than a burst of dirt. Next up is our 10th auction item. The 3-colored Tang King ended the auction. However, the rest of the items still had to be auctioned. Chapter 1202. After the auction of the tricolored Tang King ended, Su Yun was a little absent-minded. He casually bought a few things that he liked and told Ma San'er that they were worth it. He had no intention of making money at all. Because of the tricolored Tang King incident, the other bosses had already seen Su Yun's wealth. Therefore, Su Yun easily won the next few items. Basically, not many people dared to compete with him. Those who really liked it only dared to shout a few times. As long as Su Yun continued to raise his paddle firmly, very few people would make him unhappy. And the person who competed with Su Yun for the tricolored Tang King did not bid for anything else. Even a fool could see that there was something fishy about this matter. That person is F***king sick in the head. Really? Ma San'er saw that Su Yun still cared about that guy. He comforted him. When he takes the item back, he will regret it. Out of stock, sick in the head. After scolding, Ma Saner indicated that he did not mean Su Yun. After all, Su Yun competed fiercely with that fool just now. Ma Saner said that guy was out of stock, which was basically saying that Su Yun was out of stock. That's not what I meant. I just said that there's something wrong with that person. Ma Saner explained symbolically. He did not care whether Su Yun was willing or not. Anyway, when he reminded him just now, he did not listen. He kept increasing the price. He was a little stupid. That person is indeed problematic. Ma Saner, help me keep an eye on him later. Su Yun said calmly, try not to let him out of your sight. I'm afraid we'll have to follow him for a while. Ma Saner was stunned. He understood the first half of Su Yun's words. That guy was out of his mind. But Ma Saner did not understand the second half. Why would they have to follow him for a while? Could it be that he didn't manage to take down that problematic tricolored Tang King and had to follow up and kill that person? Brother, it can't be that serious, right? Ma Saner felt that his head was about to explode. Are you serious? Fight him to the death? Su Yun lowered his voice and said, do you think that this guy is really crazy to fight me to the death for such a problematic thing? Even if he's sick, do you really think I'm sick? You've already said that there's something wrong with this thing, yet I'm still willing to pay more than 200 million? Do I have too much money to burn? Are you testing him? Ma Saner suddenly realized. Su Yun glanced at Ma Saner and signaled him not to be so agitated. He didn't want others to notice that something was wrong with him. Ma Saner lowered his head next to Su Yun and said in a voice so low that even he could barely hear himself, you already knew that there was something wrong with this thing? You're here to look for trouble, right? Is it your own business again, or is it a mission assigned to you by the organization? It's the organization's arrangement. Su Yun also said in the same voice. Ma Saner snorted. Since it's the organization's arrangement, you have to apply for some service fees for me later. I'm helping you out of friendship. I can't help your organization for free, right? At least give me some money for smoking and drinking. I've delayed business for 2 days. If I'm not careful, I might lose a few million. You really dare to ask for too much. Su Yun said, aren't you afraid that the organization will also put you on the wanted list? Ma Saner was speechless. Isn't this threat too deliberate? Finally, the auction ended after 2 hours. The successful bidders had someone come forward to sign the contract. After signing, they had to pay the money within 5 days. In the blink of an eye, when Su Yun finished signing and turned around, the person who bought the tricolored Tang King was already gone. The contract was prepared and the staff member who was supposed to sign it was facing the empty seat, waiting foolishly. Su Yun didn't have time to explain to Ma Saner and directly rushed over. Ma Saner was so shocked that he didn't recover for a long time. What's going on now? Sigh, there's no end to this. Su Yun walked in front of the staff member and grabbed the contract of the tricolored Tang King. Where is he? The staff member also knew that Sky Entertainment CEO Su didn't buy the tricolored Tang King and was angry. He didn't dare to offend him and helplessly smiled. CEO Su, the Mr. Do you're looking for went to the washroom. Which washroom? Su Yun quickly asked. This. The staff member was a little embarrassed. Is CEO Su looking for trouble because he didn't buy the item and lost face? We only have one washroom here. Su Yun didn't care so much. He and Ma Saner didn't notice in the blink of an eye and the other party actually disappeared. Su Yun didn't stop and directly ran to the washroom of the auction house. He definitely couldn't let that guy escape. The organization hadn't given him any tasks for so long. Now that Wang Yi had given him such a small task, if he messed it up again, he really wouldn't have the face to go back. Su Yun hurriedly ran to the washroom, but at this moment, the building was already empty. There was no CEO Do at all. F***CK. Su Yun fiercely cursed. This son of a bitch, don't let me catch you. As expected, he ran away after winning the bid. How unscrupulous. Su Yun, who was in a bad mood, didn't have any emotions. When the auction house found out that CEO Du ran away without signing the contract, they were also angry. If those auction houses ran away, then they ran away. This charity auction also ran away. Since you don't have the money to pay, then don't bid. When you bid, you act like a boss. No one is as bad as you. Now that it's time to pay, you don't say anything. What is this? I really don't know what this person's brain is thinking. What kind of person is CEO Du? Su Yun believed that the auction house had information. Originally, these things couldn't be said in the auction house, but when it came to such an unscrupulous person, the auction house didn't have any scruples. CEO Su, you aren't going to talk to him, right? The auction house staff member said. Of course, I have to talk to him. Su Yun sneered. He snatched it from me, but in the end, he didn't want it. I can't buy it even if I wanted to. If I don't talk to him, how can I take this lying down? The staff of the auction house had been waiting for Su Yun to say this. Yes. Director Su is right. We really need to talk to Director Du about this. Isn't it obvious that he's going against you and trying to scam you? Can this fanning of the flames be any more obvious? Su Yun was too lazy to bother with him. He just signaled him to tell him the information about CEO Du as soon as possible. 10 minutes later, Su Yun got the information about CEO Du Tian, mingling in the Beijing and Tianjin circles, was doing well in the real estate industry. Although the real estate industry was slightly declining in the past 2 years, with their efforts to turn the tide, they were able to ensure that the housing prices didn't fall. The information that Su Yun got was very detailed. It included the company's address and even the home address. The auction house gave him 3 addresses, saying that these were the 3 places he frequented the most. Those in the real estate industry definitely didn't lack houses. He probably raised children in these 3 places, so he frequented them. This auction house's information was really detailed. Su Yun clicked his tongue in praise. Amazing. Fortunately, they were careful. Otherwise, if they really gave him more than 100 addresses, he would run around until his legs broke. Ma Sanner knew that this was definitely not a small matter. Otherwise, Su Yun wouldn't be in such a hurry to find someone. Of course, Su Yun still wanted the things he bought. After he signed, he immediately called Yuan Qingshuang and asked him to transfer the money directly. The matter was quickly over. The auction house staff kept saying, CEO Su is still straightforward, and sent Su Yun out. Su Yun and Ma Sanner first brought back the few good auction items they bought back to Panjiayuan. Ma Sanner entered the shop and saw traces of fighting. He immediately began to look for traces of damage. Su Yun directly put the few things he bought today on his table. Pick one of these things that you like. Take it as your compensation and reward. How about it? Helping the organization doesn't treat you badly, right? Chapter 1203. You know this Du Tian, right? Su Yun threw the information on Du Tian that the auction house gave him on the table. Ma Sanner nodded his head. I've heard of him. Yu Garden was developed by him, but I didn't expect him to look so young. He can be considered young and promising. Yanjing's housing prices being so high, this Du Tian's contribution can't go unnoticed. Su Yun frowned. Are you praising him for being young and promising, or are you saying that he's also a sinner? Raising the housing prices so high, isn't he afraid that his ancestors won't be able to live peacefully in the underworld? This might be hereditary. Maybe his ancestors also raised the housing prices in the King of Hell's territory. The 18th floor of Hell is probably the 18th ring. The first 17th floor is reserved by the rich for their sons and grandsons. The poor can only go to the 18th ring after they die. Ma Sanner made a horrifying analogy. When I go back, I'll burn some paper money for my dad, get a few 100 trillion, all of them euros, and get him to get me a set in the 2nd ring. Su Yun helplessly smiled. Tonight, I'm going to meet this Du Tian. Help me find someone to ask around and see where he's most likely to go. The information given by the auction house was given by them. I still trust you more. Just because of what you said, I'll immediately go and do it for you. Ma Sanner patted his chest and said, finding someone in Yanjing wasn't difficult for him, Ma San. Moreover, it was such a well-known person, so it was too easy, just a few phone calls. Su Yun's heart relaxed a lot. As long as he found the person, everything would be easy. Originally, he didn't plan to go openly, but Du Tian ran away so quickly. According to normal people's thinking, if Su Yun didn't go and talk to him, it would be more suspicious. Su Yun didn't go and find Du Tian to directly expose him as a suspect of participating in the counterfeiting, but to ask him, why did you snatch it from him and then don't want it? This way, Du Tian wouldn't have any suspicions. Moreover, Du Tian would think that Su Yun really wanted this tri-colored Tang King. Perhaps, Du Tian would even find a way to sell this thing to him. This way, Su Yun would be able to dig out Du Tian's entire contact network and capture them all in one fell swoop. Now, everything was handed over to Ma San to arrange. Su Yun had to organize his words and prepare to fish for information tonight. Ma San spent the whole afternoon investigating Du Tian thoroughly. He even knew which mistress he liked to look for every day. As a real estate developer, he did not lack houses. Even if these houses were empty, they would be empty anyway. Raising a few girls could be considered as making use of them. Recently, this grandson has been staying in the Yu Garden district that he developed. Because the property market is unstable, he has been keeping it under wraps. He has a lot of spare time in his house, so he has a few mistresses. Ma San said, I have a friend who wants a house in the Yu Garden. He regrets it every day. He said that the house's waterproofing is very bad. When he bathes upstairs, his house leaks. For the past month or so, he has always seen Du Tian go to the building in the middle of the Yu Garden. The building in the middle has never been opened. Every time he goes there, only the top floor has lights on. Everything else is dark. Su Yun nodded. This means that as long as the lights on the top floor of the building in the middle of the Yu Garden are on at night, it means that Du Tian is there. Do you want to go with me tonight? Can I go? Ma San was stunned. Isn't this the mission given to you by the organization? It's not good for me to get involved in this matter, right? What's not good about it? It's fine. The organization said that I will handle the outside matters myself. Su Yun, moreover, I have already represented the organization to give you the right to choose my treasures. Don't you think you should pay more? Ma San chuckled. No problem. This is just a small matter. Isn't it just going to meet an idiot? It's not a big deal. Moreover, I'll just take it as going there to see if the body of his mistress is big or not. Don't you already have a marriage partner? Is that all you've got? Su Yun was speechless. 11 o'clock was not late for the night in Beijing. However, it was really late for the Yu Garden, which was a residential area that did not have many houses. The location of this residential area was not bad. The greenery in the residential area was also not bad. However, the price was too high. It was already considered good if the occupancy rate was at most 5%. Therefore, when it was 11 o'clock at night, it was rather quiet. Those who were supposed to sleep had already gone to bed. Only the occasional roar of passing cars could be heard. Su Yun and Ma San arrived at the residential area. The security guard did not even ask and let them in. The light on the top floor of the building in the middle was indeed on. Su Yun and Ma San casually found a place to park their car and directly went to the top floor. They did not know if they would disturb the two of them if they came at this time. However, there was really no suitable time. If they came early, Du Tian might not be able to come back. The elevator quickly arrived at Du Tian's door. Ma San strode forward and slammed the door a few times. Although there was no sound in the room, they could see light through the peephole. Ma San increased the strength of his palm and slapped the door a few more times. The anti-theft door made clanking sounds. Soon, a woman's voice was heard from the room. Who is it? It's so late. Can't you let me sleep? When Ma San heard the woman's soft voice, goosebumps appeared all over his body. When I heard this voice, I felt a sense of lust. Brother Yun, you have to control yourself later. I should be the one saying this to you. Su Yun glared at Ma Sana and then said to the person in the room, "We have urgent matters to discuss with Chairman Du." The woman inside was complaining about something. The room's soundproofing was good, so they could not hear what the woman inside was complaining about. About 3 minutes later, the door opened. A woman with long hair and a pair of phoenix eyes looked at Su Yun and Ma Sana at the door with a flirtatious look. She said coldly, "What can't you say over the phone? Don't you know Chairman Du is not feeling well these few days? Why are you here in the middle of the night? Are you crazy? The matter is too important, so I have to apologize." Su Yun pushed the door open with a smile. This woman on the outside was not ordinary. She clearly heard a man coming, but she was still wearing pajamas, revealing a large part of her snow-white chest. In the room, the sound of water splashing could be heard from the bathroom. It seemed that Du Tian was taking a bath, and this woman was here. It was not the first time that she received Du Tian's subordinates when he was taking a bath. "Which project department are you from?" The woman that Du Tian kept looked to be about 25 or 26 years old. Ma Sana stared at her snow-white chest for a while. He really wanted to teach this girl a lesson. She was not ugly, and her career was quite deep. If she went out and found a proper job, she would definitely be able to do well. Did she have to serve a married man here? Su Yun smiled slightly. "I am not from any project department, and I am not one of Chairman Du's people. Chairman Du and I can be considered friends." Friends were friends. How could they be considered friends? This woman did not understand what Su Yun meant. Du Tian, who was taking a bath, heard the voice outside and shouted loudly, "Who is it? What time is it? Can't you let me sleep?" Su Yun and Ma Sana were startled when they heard this voice. They were both smart people. They did not need to say much. They could communicate with their eyes. That's right, the two of them realized a problem. This Du Tian who was taking a bath was different from the voice at the auction in the afternoon. Could it be that they made a mistake? That's impossible. "Chairman Du, that Du Tian?" Su Yun asked. The woman put her hands on her waist. "If it's not that Du Tian, who else can it be? Who are you people?" Chapter 1204. Damn, they aren't even the same person, okay? Although the Du Tian from the afternoon and this Du Tian looked similar, they were definitely not the same person. Although this Du Tian was also around 34 or 35 years old, his stomach was a full size bigger than the previous Du Tian. His hair was also shorter and his scalp could be vaguely seen. The most obvious difference was the bruise on this guy's face and the obvious rope marks on his arms and wrists. It was very glaring. There was also a very light-colored Buddha tattoo on his arm and a palm-sized jade guanyin on his neck. Ma Sana muttered in his heart. This Du Tian was pretty fancy. He only lived with an outside woman for a month and he was abused to this extent? What were they doing at night? It was too much. No matter what, Du Tian was still a reputable person. If this was seen, wouldn't he be afraid of being laughed at? Su Yun also admired this awesome person. His taste was really heavy. It was definitely heavy to the point that he didn't have any friends. "Who are you?" Du Tian clearly didn't have a good impression of these two people that he didn't know at all. He originally thought that they were one of his construction project managers who had urgent matters to report. Now that it wasn't them, Du Tian, who was in a bad mood, couldn't accept it. "You are Du Tian?" Su Yun was still able to keep his cool. Ma Sana wanted to point at Du Tian a few times and ask him who was the person who went to the auction house in the morning. "I am." Du Tian acted like a king. "Why are you looking for me? What's the matter?" Su Yun realized that there was definitely a problem. "Director Du, I think we might have some misunderstanding. I'm really sorry to disturb you so late. We will leave now. Please stay." Ma Sana felt that he was losing face. They clearly didn't find the wrong place and didn't find the wrong person, but he wasn't the person they were looking for. "Don't you think this is infuriating?" When the two got up and prepared to leave, Du Tian said with a sullen face, "Humph, where do you think my house is? You can come and go as you wish. Since you're looking for me, Du Tian, and I'm here. What's wrong with looking for me? You're really looking for the wrong person, Ma Sanner impatiently waved his hand. You're not the Du Tian we're looking for. Pa. Du Tian slammed his palm on the table. Then I really need to ask around, other than me, who else is there in Yanjing City? Humph, you can leave if you want, but this isn't a place where you can come and go as you please. Kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times before you scram. How could Du Tian, who was already in a bad mood, allow 2 strangers to casually enter his house? Moreover, his little darling was wearing so little. Her snow-white chest had already been seen by them. What did you say? When Ma Sanner heard this, he was stunned. Mr. Du, we already said that we found the wrong person. It's a misunderstanding. What's wrong? Can't I explain properly? Do you really have to do something? You better be fucking polite when you talk to me. Who's talking to you? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Are you qualified to talk to me, Du Tian? Du Tian glared. If you don't do as I say, don't blame. Quang Dang. Su Yun didn't wait for Du Tian to finish his words, and directly stomped the marble coffee table in Du Tian's living room into pieces. The huge sound made Du Tian swallow the rest of her words back into her stomach. But he quickly recovered and pointed at Su Yun's nose and scolded, You want to be unreasonable, right? Fine, fine. Come on then. Let me see how much ability you have. You dare to challenge me? As Du Tian scolded, he took out his phone and dialed a number. Who in the real estate business didn't have people under their hands? Not to mention that these thugs were indeed useful in many situations, they were also very pretentious when they went out. The person who answered Du Tian's phone call was Shen Chen. He could be regarded as the most powerful thug under Du Tian. Otherwise, Du Tian wouldn't give him a house and a car. Moreover, the house was a 170 square meter DC residence, and the car was a 50 Audi A6. What's the concept of a 170 square meter house in Yanjing City? He couldn't even hold a few million. Shan Chen lived in the Yu Garden. When he received Du Tian's phone call, he immediately put on his clothes and rushed over with his men. Du Tian relied on Shen Chen's close proximity and ruthlessness, so he was fearless. Originally, he had experienced a lot of things, so when he encountered 2 people causing trouble at home, he really didn't care. When Shen Chen comes later, let's see how these 2 guys regret it. What kind of person was Shen Chen? Du Tian knew too well. He was the kind of person who could feed the whole family. His father sentenced him to death before he was born. His mother ran away with another man after giving birth to him. Her whereabouts were still unknown. This guy hated society since he was young. He was the kind of person who had a strong sense of revenge. When he was 8 years old, he used a knife. When he was 16, he dared to beat people with a gun. When he was 22, he began to follow Du Tian. In just 5 years, he had done many big things for Du Tian. He couldn't remember how many enemies he had defeated. Du Tian gave him a house, gave him a car, and let him live like a middle-class person. That was because he was valuable. There were too many bad things on the construction site. If Du Tian didn't have someone like Shen Chen, it would definitely be impossible. It could be said that Du Tian's real estate business had advanced by leaps and bounds in recent years, and it was inseparable from Shen Chen's credit. Shen Chen sold his life. Du Tian was the only person he had met in his life who was good to him. Du Tian never looked down on him because he didn't have parents, nor did he look down on him because he didn't have anything. Instead, he gave him a lot of room to play. This allowed him to reach the sky in one step and become a person that many people envied. This was the life that he, Shen Chen, wanted. Du Tian could give it to him, so he had to sell his life to Du Tian. He was willing. Selling one's life was also a profession. After Du Tian finished the phone call, he had an expression of, "You wait for me." The woman beside him also had an impatient look. She seemed to be blaming these 2 people for ruining their mood, but she also seemed to be flirting with Su Yun. Anyway, it was very awkward. Mr. Du, a misunderstanding is a misunderstanding. We should go first. Su Yun said, I really don't want to make a big deal out of this. I just hope you can understand. Understand your ass. Du Tian felt that Su Yun was afraid and didn't dare to provoke him, so he became even more arrogant. You dare to come but don't dare to take responsibility? F*ck, you even F*king smashed my coffee table. Kid, today Grandpa Du will let you know that you have to keep a low profile. The person who should keep a low profile is you, right? Su Yun was a little speechless. He realized that he had found the wrong person. He had been trying his best to avoid conflict. Du Tian was the one who was unreasonable. Originally, Su Yun wanted to teach him a lesson and let this matter pass. Who would have thought that Du Tian would call for help? Let me make it clear. You won't be able to leave today. My men are in this neighborhood. They will be there soon. Du Tian said proudly. Indeed, Shen Chen wasn't the only one living in this neighborhood. However, he only needed to call Shen Chen. Shen Chen would naturally contact the others. Shen Chen made 2 calls while he was putting on his clothes. After all, there were only 2 people in Du Tian's house. Moreover, he had a gun with him. He wasn't afraid that the other party would cause trouble. He even felt that he could settle this matter himself. Calling 2 more people was just to give Du Tian more face. Shen Chen knew that Du Tian wanted face. Just like how Du Tian understood him, Shen Chen wanted status and dignity. This was a complementary thing. If you give me something, I will naturally give you something back. Shen Chen was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had brought Bao and Old Seven to Du Tian's house. This kid thought things through very clearly. He let Bao and Old Seven use the elevator while he took the stairs. There was no chance for the other party to take advantage of this. Chapter 1205. To be honest, Su Yun did not expect that Du Tian's phone call would cause someone to break into his house so quickly. As soon as Shen Chen entered the room, Du Tian became even more confident. He stood up with a bang, pointed at Su Yun's nose and began to scold, "Brat, aren't you very stubborn? Today, I will give you a good lecture. Breaking into my house in the middle of the night and smashing my furniture? Get your people to give me 100,000 yuan before you leave. Otherwise, don't even think about walking out." Breaking Du Tian's tea table with a single kick was indeed Su Yun's impulse. Just now, he had no place to vent his anger. Su Yun wasn't targeting Du Tian, but the guy who tricked them. When Du Tian was angry, Su Yun naturally could not hold back and became irritable. Su Yun did not have the time to argue with them. He also did not want to complicate matters. "Manager Du, I will give you 5,000 yuan for your coffee table. It should be enough. If it's more, I will buy you 2 cigarettes. If it's less, I will treat it as a meal. We are all trying to make a living in this society. It's better to have more friends than more enemies." "Who are you? You want to be friends with me?" Du Tian did not recognize this. Ma Sanner was about to explode, but when he saw Shen Chen's bulging waist, he knew that this guy was carrying a weapon. He did not dare to speak out. Anyway, Su Yun was here. He would be stupid if he spoke out. Shen Chen was a little surprised. These 2 faces, one was unfamiliar, and the other seemed to be familiar. But how could they be related to Du Tian's hatred? They couldn't possibly raise their necks and start a fight just because they had gone to the wrong place. "Manager Du, what's the situation?" Shen Chen could not help but interrupt. "Who the F*ck knows what's the situation? These 2 bastards came into my house in the middle of the night. Even if they came, they could not say anything." Du Tian was still angry. 100,000 yuan, and this matter is over. "Let me tell you, I, Du Tian, am not the kind of person who cares about money. What I care about is face." Ma Sanner cursed in his heart. "Mother ***, you call this not caring about money? If you don't care about money, then don't ask." Su Yun reached into Ma Sanner's pocket and took out his wallet. He roughly looked at it and found that there were still 5,000 yuan inside. He didn't count it and directly took it out. "More or less, this is it. You're slapping my face. Do you think I, Du Tian, am a fucking beggar? Du Tian was enraged on the spot. If you don't have money, then leave me a hand. Since CEO Du had already given the order, what else could Shen Chen say? He immediately called for Air Bao and Lao Chi to join in. Given Air Bao and Lao Chi's standards, even Ma Saner might not be able to control them. Shen Chen naturally approached Su Yun directly. This guy was the leader, so he had to convince him first before talking about money. The second after Du Tian gave the order, Shen Chen directly took out an imitation 54 hidden behind his waist and strode towards Su Yun. Ordinary people would be stunned for at least 2 seconds when they saw a gun. Who wouldn't be afraid of death? Not to mention these people who used real guns in society. Even if an ordinary person took out a toy gun in front of ordinary people, most people wouldn't be able to take it. Those who were brave would cover their heads and run away, while those who were timid would be so scared that they would wet their pants. However, Su Yun was different. His reaction was even more ferocious than those who mixed in society. Among those who mixed in society, those who had courage would at most not admit defeat in front of a gun. However, there was absolutely no one who would face a gun head-on. Everyone knew that there were many reckless people in society now, and there were also many people who didn't care about their lives. There were at least tens of thousands of people in Huaxia who were chopped up every day. Every day, there would be people who had their heads cut open in the hospital's external trauma department, and there were people who had their thighs and arms cut open. It was very normal. Moreover, there were too many people who used guns now. Even if the country's surveillance was very strict and the red headings were very strict, it couldn't be stopped once it was handed down. The police department always took away guns as a formality. Those who were really caught with guns usually didn't dare to shoot or show it to others. Those who really dared to play with guns, no one dared to take them. If the relevant departments really wanted to catch them, they would directly ask the police to go to the headquarters of each construction site and check if the car belonged to the development boss's follower. They would directly open the trunk. If they couldn't find anything illegal, then it was absolutely strange. More than 80% of them would find guns. If there were only restrictions on knives, then it could only mean that the boss wasn't doing well. He couldn't even afford to equip his brothers with guns. It would be a shame if word got out. In the face of the gun that Shen Chen pointed at him, Su Yun stepped forward to meet it. The reason was simple. When fighting with people with guns, the farther you ran, the more you would become a live target for them to aim at. On the contrary, the closer you were to him, the more he couldn't shoot you. He would also panic. What if you shot him with a knife? Shen Chen didn't expect that the other party would step forward. Even though he was a veteran, he was still stunned for a moment. In that instant, Shen Chen really didn't come back to his senses. The fake 54 in his hand was already in the other party's hand. Moreover, the other party dismantled the imitation 54 as if it were a toy. In just a few moments, the imitation 54 was broken into pieces. This technique, this speed, it was obvious that he was a professional at first glance. Su Yun didn't make a move at all, nor did he say anything. His simple movements shocked Shen Chen. This guy is 2F** King Abnormal. F***CK. Go. It wasn't that Du Tian didn't see it, but he didn't feel afraid because of it. After all, this kind of thing wasn't done by him. He didn't feel the danger and didn't have to worry about internal bleeding. He also didn't have to worry about his arms and legs being broken. These things weren't done by him as the boss. He only needed to be his own boss and give orders. Shen Chen was the one doing the hard work. Shen Chen gritted his teeth. He absolutely couldn't let Du Tian lose face. Even if he had to risk everything today, he couldn't let the other party go so easily. He didn't hesitate to take out the sharp dagger tied to his calf and ruthlessly stabbed it towards Su Yun's heart. This stab was really stable, accurate, and ruthless. It was straightforward and didn't hesitate at all. It was a fatal stab. Even though the stab was so sudden, Su Yun still grasped the opportunity and grabbed Shen Chen's wrist. He used the empty-handed blade snatching and snatched the dagger from Shen Chen's hand. The next second, the dagger slit Shen Chen's neck. On the other side, Ma Saner had also easily dealt with Air Bao and Old Seven. When he saw Brother Yun slit his neck, he panicked. In an instant, there was a dead silence. He killed someone just like that. Wasn't it a little too sudden? Du Tian was stunned. The blood on Shan Chen's neck was so shocking that it made one tremble in fear. The mistress beside him couldn't help but cover her eyes and scream. However, the occupancy rate of the Yu Garden was very low. There wasn't a second house on the floor above them. Hence, even if she screamed at the top of her lungs, no one would notice. Even if there were people, they would know that the top floor of this building was used by Du Tian to keep his mistress. They might even think that the two of them were having fun and were screaming excitedly. For a moment, Shan Chen really thought that he was dead. The burning pain on his neck made him somewhat afraid to breathe. The dagger is really fast. Su Yun sneered and threw the dagger on the floor. Do you have to kill me for such a small matter? If you really want to play for real, that's fine too. Continue. I won't play around with you anymore. If you want me to die, you should think about how many lives I have. If your boss really cares about your life, he should give you a warning. Du Tian's Adam's apple moved and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. In the past, Shen Chen was always the one who had the last laugh. This time, it was actually the other way around. Chapter 1206. Shen Chen had never submitted to anyone since he was young. He had always believed that as long as he was willing to risk his life, no one would be able to win against him. Whoever wanted to kill him would have to peel off a layer of his skin first. Due to the fear of death, Shen Chen was never at a disadvantage when facing all kinds of hooligans. The more successful a person was, the more unwilling he was to risk his life with someone like him. If he died, he would be at a disadvantage. But this time, Shen Chen was convinced. He believed that if the person in front of him wanted to kill him, he only needed to move his finger. In his current state, before he could even touch the person's sleeves with a knife and a gun, his neck had already been cut open. If the other party had been a little more ruthless and cut him a little deeper, he would have been lying on the floor with his neck bleeding. There was no chance for him to challenge the other party. Now that Shen Chen had nothing in his hands, he couldn't possibly throw his life away, right? If his life could solve the problem, he would really accept it. He would treat it as repaying Du Tian for giving him a good life these few years. His life would be worth it. However, even if he sacrificed his life, it wouldn't solve the problem. At first, the other party didn't think of taking action, but now, there was no turning back. Air Bao and Old Seven had been overturned. He was the only one left who would die if he took action. I've said before that this is a misunderstanding. Chairman Du, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but if you want to have fun, I will definitely accompany you. Really, Su Yun said. Du Tian felt as if there was a rag stuck in his chest. It smelled so bad that he couldn't breathe. However, he really didn't know how to answer because of his pride. If there's anything, you can take it out on me, Shinshin said. Even if I have to pay with my life, I won't blink. After saying that, Shen Chen stood in front of Du Tian. He turned around and said to Du Tian, Chairman Du, today's matter is a misunderstanding. He looked at Du Tian with a firm gaze. Du Tian knew that he couldn't offend this person in front of him. No matter how unlucky Shen Chen was, he couldn't stand up to someone who could kill him in seconds. What kind of people were they? Du Tian couldn't understand. What was going on today? He was beaten up by two strangers early in the morning, and then two people came to his house in the middle of the night. Misfortunes never come singly. If this person was unlucky, even drinking cold water would be damned. It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Du Tian had a stomach full of grievances. He had never lowered his head like this before. Brother, what's the situation? How is it a misunderstanding? Can you say something? Let me admit my defeat today wholeheartedly. Ma Saner pointed at Du Tian and said, Do you know who he is? Have you heard of Sky Entertainment Corporation? Sky Entertainment Group's Su Yun. Director Su. What? Du Tian was really surprised. If he didn't say it, he wouldn't have known. Now that he said it, he was really shocked. Was this the legendary young and promising talent? Is this for real? There might have been a misunderstanding at a charity auction today. We mistook you for someone else, so we came to find Director Du, Ma Sanner continued. We realized that we mistook you for someone else as soon as we arrived, but we can't do anything about it. We don't know what went wrong. What are you talking about? Du Tian's face changed color. What happened at the auction? Are you kidding? What do you mean? Wait. Director Su, this is definitely not right. I didn't go to the auction. Su Yun nodded. Of course I know Director Du didn't go, because I didn't see Director Du at the auction. Su Yun had an impression of everyone who went to the auction today. This was his mission at the auction. What the F***ck did I do to her? Du Tian slapped his thigh. I went out early this morning. I didn't even see my brothers, but 2 people covered my head with a bag and beat me up. They gave me a good beating. Look at the bruises all over my body. It hurts so much. After they were done with me, they forced me to hand over the invitation to the charity auction to them. Su Yun was stunned. It seemed that things were quite complicated. I can't risk my life just because of an invitation. They're really trying to kill me. They almost strangled me to death. When Shen Chan and the rest rushed over, they had already run away. I spent the day in the hospital. When Du Tianyi talked about this morning's encounter, he was so angry that he couldn't vent his anger. He scolded with all his might. What the F***ck? What? Those 2 bastards even went to the auction with my invitation letter? If I knew, I would have stopped them directly. Kill them. Seeing Du Tian like this, he was really infuriated. From the looks of it, this matter was quite complicated. The other party was really meticulous. He had planned everything so thoroughly that even his identity was forged. But the Du Tian at the auction today looked similar to this Du Tian. Su Yun frowned. Other than beating you, what else did they do to you? I feel disgusted when I talk about it. They even put shit on my face. My face was scratched. Du Tian spat. I'm really F***king unlucky. I don't even know what immoral things I did. God is playing with me. Su Yun really wanted to ask him what immoral things he did. How many people in the real estate business weren't immoral? If they weren't immoral, how could they raise the price of the house? It must be a joke. Director Du, it seems that we were both played by them. Su Yun smiled bitterly. He promised Wang Yi that he wouldn't lose them, but he didn't expect to mess things up now. As the saying goes, when there is a common enemy, people's relationship will quickly become brothers. This saying wasn't false at all. Du Tian really treated Su Yun as a brother now. Brother Su. The 2 of us are fated to meet. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. Du Tian took the initiative to say, we were both played by a grandson. You say, if we don't explain this matter, isn't it too unreasonable? Su Yun nodded. Yes, I must find this person. Why did he beat you too? Du Tian realized that he was talking nonsense after he said it. Looking at Su Yun's body, there was nothing on it. It was impossible for him to be beaten. Even if the other party wanted to beat him, it didn't seem so easy. It wasn't as simple as beating him up. We are not the same as you. Ma Sanner said, Director Du, since it's a misunderstanding, then we have talked about it. You also said that no discord, no concord. This matter is over. You should hurry up and let your brother go to the hospital. Don't go back and lose too much blood. Ma Sanner looked at the blood on Shen Chen's neck. He panicked and hurriedly reminded him. Shen Chen looked at Su Yun. Instead of holding a grudge, he looked at him with admiration. It's okay. Director Su's knife just made me remember. I will treat it as if I bought a necklace. Shen Chen said this with emotion. He used to be barefoot, so he wasn't afraid of anyone. But he was different now. He had followed Du Tian until now and had his own things. He had a house and a car. He was also a little famous in Yanjing City. His brothers in the society would give him some face after seeing him. His life was no longer as worthless as before. Today, if Su Yun didn't give him a knife, he always thought that his life was worthless and could be thrown out at any time for Du Tian. After this knife, he didn't think so anymore. So his admiration for Su Yun was incomprehensible to others. Chapter 1207. Du Tian saw that Shan Chan admired Su Yun very much. He was somewhat uncomfortable in his heart, but he couldn't say it out loud. He could only cough lightly. That, Chen, Manager Su is a person of status. You should pay attention to what you say. Shan Chen nodded and said seriously, Manager Du, I know. I'm not that particular. Su Yun said, since we know each other, we're friends. Manager Du, I do owe you a favor today. If there's anything you need from me, Su Yun, I'll definitely help. How could Du Tian dare to challenge Su Yun? Let's not talk about Su Yun's heaven-defying martial prowess, just his status was not on the same level as him. What kind of status was he? He was the big boss of Sky Entertainment Group. He had a bunch of A-list celebrities under him. The box office of a movie he made was enough to make as much money as he made from building a community. Moreover, he didn't have any psychological burden and wasn't afraid of retribution. He was much better than him. If he wanted to be on the same level as Su Yun, he had to at least be the leader of the real estate industry. However, it wasn't that easy to be the leader. Those real estate bosses who lived like Buddhas in Huaxia were famous and rich. He only had a small name in the Beijing circle and was at most a B-list celebrity. Being able to get an invitation to the charity auction wasn't entirely because of his strength. This was like the Forbes ranking. Those who were ranked were rich enough, but in the eyes of those who didn't care about it, they were considered middle class. There was always someone better. The auction house invited the bosses of the top 100 companies in the country. That was just to give them face. They were rich, but the auction house might not be able to invite them. They might not be interested in these things. Manager Su, since you said that, I, Du Tian, didn't become your friend for nothing. Du Tian said, I don't dare to ask Manager Su for help, but there's something I want to discuss with you. I definitely won't let go of the person who tricked us. What about you, Manager Su? Of course not. Su Yun smiled slightly. I really want to discuss this matter with President Du. Du Tian leaned his head over. Director Su, as long as it's within my power, I will do my best. If it's something I can't do, I will create the conditions to do it. I have to let that grandson who caused me trouble know that I, Du Tian, am not someone who can be provoked. Su Yun really needed Du Tian to do this. Mr. Du, you have a lot of connections in Beijing, and you have so many brothers. You're definitely better than me at finding people. Although Beijing is only the size of a palm, the population density is high. Finding someone is still like finding a needle in a haystack. Search. I'll look for him even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground. Du Tian said, but I didn't see him clearly. The invitation was given to you by the auction house. Su Yun. In the end, it was someone else who went. The auction house didn't see through it, and that's their dereliction of duty. If you go to them, they definitely won't say anything. The auction house has surveillance cameras. How the other party came, how they left, what they look like, how many people they have, they will definitely be able to find out. Only if you go and ask for it, the auction house will cooperate. If it's anyone else, it won't work. Du Tian felt that it made sense. He nodded vigorously. Yes, I have to go personally. I have to ask them which eye they are blind in. Du Tian's bandit aura was quite serious. Su Yun really didn't know why a boss like him would still have such a big temper. He didn't know how to cultivate his body and mind at all. It was obvious that his body was hollowed out by alcohol and women. As long as we can find the surveillance cameras and identify the person, I believe that with Mr. Du and Brother Chen's connections, we will be able to find a way to solve this. Su Yun smiled. Finding someone was sometimes easy and sometimes difficult. It would be good if there were clues. However, this kind of thing really needed someone like Shen Chen who had a lot of connections in the society. Perhaps not many people in the upper class knew him, but there weren't many gangsters in Beijing who didn't know him. At this time, people like Shen Chen were needed. Hundreds of people from all walks of life were needed to find him. His brothers would give him face, so they would naturally do it with their hearts. It would definitely be more powerful than the police. Everyone knew better than the other how the police handled things these days. In the whole of Huaxia, how many stupid police like Qin Wan could there be? Mr. Su, don't worry. As long as the auction house pulls out the surveillance cameras, even if I have to turn Beijing upside down, I will definitely find the person for you. Shen Chen promised. Because his words were said to Su Yun, it provoked Du Tian's dissatisfaction. However, Du Tian still remained calm and said with a bit of a joke, "You have made a military order for this matter. If you can't find the person, I will not forgive you." Yes, Mr. Du, Shen Chen was very clear that Du Tian was the person who gave him a chance when he was in the most difficult time. He owed him, so he still absolutely obeyed Du Tian's words. Mr. Du, Su Yun could see Du Tian's thoughts, so he originally wanted to say this to Shen Chen, but he still mentioned his name. The reason why he didn't say this to him was very simple. He certainly wouldn't risk his life. However, Shen Chen might be more impulsive. You are only responsible for finding the person. The rest is my business. Don't be impulsive. Even if you find the person, don't confront them directly. Du Tian was stunned for a moment. He originally thought that after finding the person, he would immediately let Shen Chen take his brothers to chop that group of bastards into meat paste. Only then could he relieve the hatred in his heart. Shen Chen was also stunned for a moment. This was out of his expectations. Su Yun naturally had his reasons for not letting them take action. We don't know who the other party is and what their purpose is. Su Yun, but what if it is a trap? So, everyone should be careful. You are responsible for finding the person. I will solve the rest. If this is the case, we will cooperate. If not, then I won't implicate you. Mr. Su, we will listen to you. Shen Chen agreed immediately. This guy was really honest. He didn't see the change in Du Tian's mentality at all. At this moment, Shen Chen was acting like Su Yun's follower and not Du Tian's follower. How could Du Tian be comfortable? Okay, Chen, then you take Air Bao and Old Seven back first. Tomorrow morning, call a few more brothers to follow me to the auction house. Du Tian waved his hand. It was unknown whether he was really concerned about his follower's sleep or was afraid that his follower would be too close to Su Yun. It's late. I will not disturb Mr. Du. Su Yun also stood up and said, I will leave my phone number with you. Let's contact tomorrow. Du Tian said enthusiastically, You don't want to sit for a while? Sit for a while and drink some tea. We regret that we didn't meet earlier. We have plenty of time in the future. Su Yun smiled. Let's rest early today. Both Mr. Du and I have something to do tomorrow. I am really sorry about today's matter. Don't mention it. Du Tian said generously. Ma San waited anxiously. All right, Mr. Du, please wait. We're leaving. Shen Chen hurriedly said, Mr. Du, I will send Mr. Su off for you. What are you talking about? Du Tian stared. Mr. Su, how can I not send him off personally? Do you know how to do things? Did I not teach you? Shen Chen felt the change in Du Tian and didn't say anything. A group of people went downstairs to send Su Yun and Ma San off. They didn't stop until the taillights of the car disappeared. When Su Yun left, Du Tian said to Shen Chen, Chen, some friendship can't be taken too seriously. We have a cooperative relationship with Mr. Su. Don't treat him as a brother. We don't know him well. Nobody knows what kind of person he is. Do you understand? Chapter 1208. Du Tian's reminder didn't reduce Shen Chen's admiration for Su Yun. Instead, it made Shen Chen feel that Du Tian's tolerance was far worse than Su Yun's. However, Shen Chen wouldn't show this feeling in his heart. Some things were better kept in the heart. It wasn't good for anyone to say it out loud. Especially for people like Du Tian who remembered things easily, he didn't like to hear some of the things in Shen Chen's heart at the moment. After selling his life for so many years, Shen Chen felt that he was loyal enough. He could also say this with a conscience. But Du Tian still treated him as a tool to sell his life, and it would always be like this. Because their relationship was always based on a master-servant relationship, not brothers. Shen Chen understood this from the beginning. However, over the years, the increasingly obvious master-servant relationship made him a little disappointed. Time always made people change, and Shen Chen was also changing. This change may not be shown, but it didn't mean that it wasn't in his heart. Early the next morning, Shen Chen woke up in a daze. Du Tian was going to the Asian auction house. It was his usual style to go out with a lot of face. Shen Chen knew him too well, so he got up very early and called his brothers who did things carefully on weekdays. At 8 o'clock sharp, everyone was already waiting downstairs. Shen Chen called Du Tian at 7:30, but it wasn't until 8:30 that Du Tian came downstairs slowly. He was the boss, so he didn't need to explain to anyone that he was a little late. Du Tian was still in a good mood. He personally drove the Panamera that was given to him by Xiao Si. Du Tian and the others' Audi and tyrannical cars followed closely behind. These people were all elites under Du Tian. With them, Du Tian wished he could do whatever he wanted in Yanjing City. The motorcade soon arrived at the entrance of the Asian auction house. Du Tian had already ordered Shen Chen to drive several Audi and tyrannical cars to directly block the entrance of the auction house. Although it couldn't be said to be watertight, it was really impossible for anyone to get in or out. The security guards of the auction house were all from a security company, and they didn't earn much money. No one would be stupid enough to cause trouble for themselves. Even a fool could tell that these people were here to cause trouble. Of course, the assistant manager of the auction house also realized that there was a problem and ran over. It was not easy for an outsider like him to work in Beijing, and he had not even gotten a household registration yet. Of course, he did not want to offend anyone. "Oh boss, are you here to inspect the work, or do you need our help?" "My name is Du Tian." Du Tian pointed at his nose and said, "You guys sent me an invitation to yesterday's charity auction." The assistant manager suddenly realized that this was the Du Tian who ran away after the auction yesterday. Yesterday, the people in the auction house were scolding this grandson for faking the auction. Who would have thought that he would come today? So it's President Du. It's an honor to meet you at last. Look at my eyes. Even if Mount Tai was right in front of me, I wouldn't be able to recognize you. Ha ha ha, CEO Du, I'm really sorry. The assistant manager hurriedly said politely, Quick, please come in. President Du, you're here to pay today, right?" Du Tian spat out a mouthful of saliva and maintained his demeanor as a boss. Shen Chen stepped forward and grabbed the vice manager's collar. He said rudely, "You people, your dog eyes are blind enough." Shen Chen did not need to be reserved. He was a follower, and he was here to play the bad guy. "All right, Chen, don't be like this. We are all people with status, and we are here to reason. Don't hit us." Du Tian said lightly. This was his usual method. He let his subordinates play the bad guy, so he could play the bad guy better. This is not their fault. Let's sit down and discuss. See how to deal with it. The assistant manager of the Asian auction house was dumbfounded. "What the hell is going on? Ask the person who sent me the contract yesterday to come out." Du Tian said, "Let him take a look at me, and see if it was me yesterday." The assistant manager did not understand Du Tian's meaning at all, but he quickly called out the staff who was in charge of Du Tian yesterday. That person came, and his expression was a bit absent-minded. Du Tian still pointed at his nose and said, "Brother, was it me who didn't pay after bidding yesterday?" "Yes." The staff replied in an almost inaudible voice. F***CK. The smile on Du Tian's face froze. "Brother, raise your head and look at me. What do you mean by this? Are you playing with me? Or did you not see clearly? It's you. Do. Boss do. That person still said. Du Tian's face sank. Shen Chen stepped forward and kicked that person a few meters away. His subordinates behind him all picked up their weapons and were ready to attack. Shen Chen scolded. Are you blind or stupid? I will teach you a lesson, and you will remember it clearly. Is it our boss Du or not? Chen, stop. Du Tian suddenly said. If he could avoid fighting, he would definitely not do it. If he did, then they would be unreasonable. It's me? Did you really see it clearly? Yes. I saw it clearly. That staff still insisted. Du Tian nodded vigorously. Good. You said you saw it clearly. Then show me the CCTV. If it's me, I will King kneel in front of your auction house for a day. If it's not me, I will gouge your dog eyes out. The situation was getting more and more chaotic. The manager of the auction house also ran down. What's the situation? You are a big boss, and you are making trouble here. This is too degrading for your status. Come, please. Today, I will clearly tell your auction house that the person who came to the auction house yesterday wasn't me. My invitation letter was stolen by someone and you didn't even notice. Du Tian said, You are the person in charge, right? Okay, then you have to give me an explanation. How is it possible? The manager was surprised. Shen Chen said impatiently, That's impossible. Let's King look at the CCTV first. Stop wasting time. This bastard is lying through his teeth. Let's see what else you have to say after looking at the CCTV. This. What is this? Shen Chen turned around and said to his subordinates, Do you think our boss Du has a good temper, so he won't dare to smash your place? Well, we can discuss anything. Let's look at the CCTV. No problem. Absolutely no problem. The manager of the auction house was also afraid that something would really happen. He didn't dare to offend this group of people who came aggressively. Isn't it just looking at the CCTV? It's not a big deal. Let's just look at it. It's not like I will lose a piece of meat. Moreover, this time was enough for him to prepare to contact his acquaintances in the police station and ask them to come over to prevent any unexpected things from happening. After coming to the CCTV room, Du Tian was ready to see who was so fearless that they actually dared to pretend to be him and swindle people. A piece of news that made him completely collapse came. Yesterday's CCTV was wiped out. This news was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. Du Tian, who wasn't very well-mannered, completely couldn't control his emotions. Are you King playing with me? Good. Then I will let you see the consequences of playing with me. Shen Chen. This CCTV room can't even keep the CCTV. It's useless to have it. Smash it. I can't, boss Du, please do me a favor. The manager of the auction house quickly stepped forward. He was panicking. He had already called the police station's director by for more than 10 minutes. Why hasn't he arranged for anyone to come over yet? This is still considered to be a connection, and it's still so efficient. I really don't know what's the use of calling the police if it's not a connection. Chapter 1209. Then what the *CK is this situation? Du Tian had completely torn off his mask of hypocrisy, like a bandit through and through. Today, I, Du Tian, will leave my words here. If we don't get to the bottom of this matter today, no one will have an easy time. Today, I will flatten this place. At this critical moment, the people from the police station closest to the auction house finally came. The surveillance room was pushed open, and a few uniformed people walked in. Du Tian's mood also calmed down a little. What's this situation? There are so many cars parked in front of the door. My district's public security is famous in the country. This year, I'm competing for the best in the country. Whoever delays my competition is going against me. Bai Zhonghua stepped in and stared at Du Tian with his two round eyes. He glanced at Du Tian and then glanced at Shen Chen and the others behind Du Tian. The manager of the auction house was a person who knew how to make trouble. Although he had privately called Bai Zhonghua to invite him, he still didn't want to offend Du Tian. Director Bai, this is all a misunderstanding. It's nothing. He, why are you here? I'm not here to play. I'm here to work. Bai Zhonghua said, do you know how to talk? If you don't, then sew your mouth. Yes. It's all my fault. The manager of the auction house hurriedly said. Who was Du Tian? How could he not understand what was going on? He sneered. Okay, you want to play this trick with me? If you have the ability, why don't you invite the people's police to be your bodyguards? Why? Do you have an opinion? I think you guys don't look like good people. Bai Zhonghua raised his eyebrows. Let's do it this way. Since you have a problem, then come with me to the station to talk. There's no point in talking nonsense here. Threatening me? Du Tian was stunned. Director Bai, right? Do you know what the relationship between your Director Tan and me is? Bai Zhonghua frowned at first, then showed some disdain. You want to suppress me just because you know a few people? Who do you think you are? I don't care what relationship you have with Chief Tan. Even if you are sworn brothers with the head of our public security system, if you dare to cause trouble in my territory, I will still arrest you. You better have evidence if you want to accuse us of causing trouble. Shen Chen sneered. Which eye of Director Bai saw us causing trouble? You guys. Bai Zhonghua was at a loss for words for a moment. To catch a thief, one had to catch the stolen goods. To catch an adulterous couple, one had to catch them together. Without evidence, even if he was a police officer, he couldn't do anything. It was also a dereliction of duty to pin the blame on them. He turned his gaze to the auction house manager. Did they trouble you? The manager of the auction house didn't want to cause trouble, so of course he wouldn't say, No, it's just a misunderstanding. Then why the F***CK did you call me? Bai Zhonghua held his breath. Alright, since you guys want to play like this, don't blame me for being impolite. Alright, stop talking. I think you guys just want to cause trouble. Follow me back to the station. Director Bai, this isn't very appropriate, right? The auction house manager panicked when he heard this. Why is it inappropriate? I don't have this little bit of authority, right? Bai Zhonghua felt unhappy when he saw him now. Just go when I ask you to go. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Du Tian snorted and silently took out his phone from his pocket. He dialed a number with a blank expression. Director Tan, I haven't seen you for a while. Are you too busy with work? A muffled voice came from the other side of the phone. The supervision is very strict now. I'm very busy. Why did you think of calling me? Is there anything you need me to help you with? Ha, Director Tan is really good at predicting things. It's just a small matter, but you don't have to do it. Du Tian said, there's a Director Bai in your area. He likes to meddle in other people's business. Which Director Bai? Give him the phone. I want to see who's meddling in your brother Du's business. When Bai Zhonghua heard Du Tian's phone call, his face was full of shock and disbelief. When he heard people say that he was meddling in other people's business, he was a little angry. But when Du Tian threw the phone over, it was as if someone poured a bucket of cold water over his head. He didn't know what to say. Yanjing City was just a palm-sized place. He, Du Tian, had been around for so long. If he didn't have this little bit of connections, even a small director could shit on his head. Then he wouldn't be able to survive. Bai Zhonghua picked up the phone. Hello. Director Bai. Which Director Bai? This voice really was Director Tan's. Bai Zhonghua tried his best to calm himself down. Director Tan, it's me, Bai Zhonghua. Oh, old Bai. Do you have too much free time now? You don't have enough to do as a director, right? If you can't stay idle, I'll let you go to the bottom level. You can write a report for me. Really, I'll definitely take care of you. Director Tan's words were quite choking. Bai Zhonghua still didn't dare to be rash in front of his boss. Director Tan, there might be a misunderstanding here. Since it's a misunderstanding, then why are you still meddling in it? Hurry up and go back to your office to do what you need to do. Director Tan said, your performance for the past 3 seasons has been quite good. Why, are you preparing to shoot yourself in the foot in the last season? Do you still want Director Bai? I'll definitely pay attention to it. Don't worry, Director Tan. Bai Zhonghua's heart was trembling when he said this. Alright, you're also an old cadre. I believe in your ability to handle things. Director Tan said, this Du Tian is my friend. He's in the real estate business. He's the one who developed that Yu garden. Give me some face and ask him if there's anything he needs you to help him with. No discord, no concord. Let's be friends. Your son has graduated from university for a year. Aren't you preparing to buy a house for him to get married? Talk to Director Du, maybe he'll give you a 10% discount. A house might even save you a Passat. Bai Zhonghua nodded repeatedly. Director Tan, I understand. Alright, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up. I'm still busy with a meeting. You settle Du Tian's matter for me. Director Tan hung up after he finished speaking. Although Bai Zhonghua's attitude didn't change 180 degrees, it had changed at least 160 degrees. Director Du, we're all on the same side. Please don't mind the small misunderstanding just now. Humph. Du Tian glanced at Bai Zhonghua arrogantly. He thought to himself, why aren't you awesome? Weren't you awesome just now? That, Director Du, if there's any situation, you can tell me. I'll help you settle it. Bai Zhonghua said, this is my jurisdiction after all. I'm familiar with it. Du Tian wanted to say, what's the use of being familiar with it? He wasn't looking for a place. He was looking for someone. Find the video. The manager of the auction house saw that Bai Zhonghua's attitude towards Du Tian had such a big change. He also realized that Director Du wasn't someone to be offended. He immediately explained everything clearly. Bai Zhonghua was at a loss. This matter was really strange. Then, I'll think of a way to get the surveillance cameras on the streets. I'll try my best to check it out for you. Du Tian nodded. He didn't accept any big favor from him. Alright, then you take a look. Give me a message as soon as possible. Alright, Director Du, I'll contact them now. Bai Zhonghua did as he said. He did it immediately. Chapter 12:10. Bai Zhonghua only took an hour to investigate everything that should be investigated. He contacted all the departments that should be contacted and should not be contacted. Soon, he found the surveillance video in the relevant departments and retrieved the information of the fake Du Tian's car entering and exiting the auction house. But after tracing the car information, it was found that the car was a BMW rented by the car rental company. It was not a private car at all. The car rental company would definitely make money, so the fake ID card was not checked at all. Anyway, they were not afraid of the deposit. Du Tian cursed a few times in his heart. I'm not a nouveau riche. How can I drive a BMW? F***ck, no taste at all. Du Tian had always looked down on people who drove BMWs. He thought that it was a sign of nouveau riche. Only people like him who drove a Panamera were tasteful. The car was almost the same price. There was really no need to argue about this. What should I do? Du Tian said, this car can't be found. You police officers are too interesting. Because the surveillance video of the car rental company was too blurry, there was no face at all, so it was equivalent to an investigation in vain. It was useless. President Du, this. I will think of a way. Don't worry. Bai Zhonghua said, there must be a solution. You can rest assured that I will not let this person who pretended to be you escape from our sight. What's the point of saying this now? Du Tian was a little impatient. You can't do this. I won't disturb Director Bai's work. You go back first. I will solve it myself. Du Tian saw Shen Chen's eyes and knew that this kid must have an idea. Then, if that's the case, I will go first. Bai Zhonghua was a little embarrassed. However, due to his relationship with Chief Tan, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to do everything well. CEO Du, if there's anything you need, you must tell me. I'll definitely do my best. I won't hesitate to help if it's necessary. Du Tian didn't answer. Bai Zhonghua knew that it was boring, so he didn't say anything. He said goodbye to the manager of the auction house and left. He was sullen in his heart. What the F***ck is this? Not only did he not do anything, but he also lost face. AI, this is so useless. Shen Chen leaned over to Du Tian and said, President Du, in this case, let's go back first. It's not a good idea to wait here. Let's go. Du Tian stood up and said, We'll head back first. When the manager of the auction house heard this, he immediately felt relieved. The Buddha was finally gone. If this continued, he really didn't know what to do. Mr. Du, I'm really sorry. This is really not what we wanted to happen. Alright, don't say so many useless things. It's just a small matter. Let bygones be bygones. I, Du Tian, am not such a narrow-minded person. After Du Tian finished speaking, he turned and left. As soon as they left the auction house, Du Tian called Shen Chen over. Do you have any ideas? Shen Chen whispered, Mr. Du, the guy who received that person at the auction house yesterday insisted that you were the one who met him yesterday. This matter is easy to deal with. He must have received money, otherwise, he wouldn't have said that. The other party must have bribed him. Du Tianyi pondered over this matter and felt that it made sense. Alright, kid, why didn't I think of that? That bastard just now is the breakthrough. Shen Chen nodded and said, I'll do it tonight. I'll definitely make him confess. Alright. Chen, I still need to rely on you for this matter. No one can be trusted. Du Tian patted Shen Chen's shoulder. Brother, you must do this well for me. No matter what, you have to pry open that bastard's mouth tonight. This matter is not only about me, but also about Sky Entertainment's Mr. Su. Although we don't know how the other party offended Mr. Su, judging from Mr. Su's ruthlessness, I'm afraid he really wants to tear that bastard apart. Shen Chen nodded. I know, brother. No matter whether this matter has anything to do with Mr. Su or not, if that bastard dares to touch you, I will definitely not let him off easily. Du Tian was very satisfied with Shen Chen's words. With your words, I'm relieved. Let's go and call our brothers to have a meal together. Let's have some fun. Shen Chen drove the A6 and led the way in the front. Du Tian's Panamera followed closely behind, followed by 2 A6s and 4 Dados. The 8 cars left the auction house in a high-profile manner as if they were escorting a bride. Only then did the manager of the auction house heave a sigh of relief. Looking at the motorcade leaving, the manager of the auction house rubbed his temples and muttered to himself, when the forest is big enough, all kinds of *T can happen. Even a charity auction can cause trouble. Sigh. Right, Lu Zheng, what's going on? Was it Du Tian who came yesterday? Lu Zheng was the staff member who was responsible for the tricolored Tang King contract for Du Tian yesterday. He hesitated for a moment and said cautiously, Yes. Yes. How can there be 2 people? Brat, you better tell me the truth. If this is a person, is there something wrong with Du Tian's head? Or is there something wrong with his head? Why is he looking for trouble with us? The manager of the auction house was also an experienced person. There was definitely something fishy about this matter. Lu Zheng sighed awkwardly. Manager, I really don't remember what Du Tian looked like yesterday. I didn't have any contact with him. I just saw him when I was working on the contract, and he went to the toilet. I can't follow him to the toilet. I really don't know what to say. What he said made sense. There were so many people at the auction yesterday. It was not easy to remember one person clearly. Forget it. Anyway, this matter is over. You should work hard. If there's anything else, I'll look for you. Go do your work." The manager of the auction house waved his hand and said, "Go, go." Lu Zheng didn't have much trouble today. In the afternoon, he got off work as usual and squeezed into the bus to leave. He bought some food on the roadside and dragged his tired body back to his rented house. At this moment, it was already past 8 in the evening. He took out the 10,000 yuan under the bed and counted it carefully. This money was not easy to earn. Today, he was on tenterhooks for the whole day. He even let someone find his unit and almost couldn't come back. Sigh, he didn't know if he could continue working. It had been 3 years since he came to Beijing. He was still the Lu Zheng who didn't have a house, a car, or a girlfriend. He didn't have the ambition that he had when he first came to Beijing. People were afraid of being tortured in such a society. As time passed, they would lose their dreams. People in his hometown thought that he was doing well. In fact, he knew best what kind of person he was. Now that he thought about it, it was better to go back. Although the city was small, at least he had a household registration. For 3 years, after deducting his food, rent, and utilities, he was definitely a standard moonlight person. Now, he only had 10,000 yuan in his hand, and it was so uneasy to take it. Well, since Beijing couldn't accommodate him, he didn't plan to continue staying. He would write a resignation letter later. Tomorrow, he would go to the auction house to hand over his work. The day after tomorrow, he would buy a ticket to go home. After going back, no matter how bad it was, he still had his parents to help him. No matter how he lived, it wouldn't be worse than in Beijing, right? Just as Lu Zheng was thinking about how to go home, someone knocked on the door. He was sharing a room with his roommate. That roommate went home to visit his family and said that he would be back the day after tomorrow. Why did he come back today? Lu Zheng opened the door and wanted to say goodbye to him. However, he saw Shen Chen's face. "You are?" Lu Zheng just opened his mouth and asked. Suddenly, he realized that it was bad. A thought suddenly appeared in Lu Zheng's mind. Sure enough, the other party kicked him in. Then, 2 burly men behind him barged in. Chapter 12:11. Lu Zheng only had one thought. It's over. I'm dead. I'm not even 30 yet. I haven't even gotten a wife, let alone a child. Let alone a happy life in the future. I don't even have the chance to let my mother live. However, the knife didn't stab into his heart as Lu Zheng expected. Instead, it stabbed into his thigh. Shen Chen didn't pull out the knife. He picked up the 10,000 yuan on Lu Zheng's bed and patted it in his hand. Lu Zheng still had the strength to care about the money. He endured the pain and said, "Oh. Then I'll leave it to my mother." Although Lu Zheng's mouth was covered, Shen Chen could still hear what he said clearly. Humph, he was really someone who valued money more than his life. At this time, he still had the energy to worry about such a small amount of money. It could only mean that this guy had never seen money before. However, Shen Chen thought about it carefully. If it was in his early years, he would definitely dare to risk his life for such a small amount of money. It was different now. He could find a place to have fun with his brothers at night, and it would cost more than this amount of money. He really didn't care about such a small amount of money now. Shen Chen smiled and said to Lu Zheng, "I'm asking you to speak now. You'll answer whatever I ask. I'll only give you this one chance. If you still want to live, then think carefully before you speak. Do you understand what I mean?" Lu Zheng nodded his head vigorously. Who didn't want to live? How old was he? Of course, he wanted to live. Shen Chen gave Bao a look and he immediately released his hand from Lu Zheng's mouth. At that moment, Lu Zheng did think of shouting for help. However, he quickly realized that it would be very risky if he did so. He already felt a chill on his back. Seventh brother's dagger was at his back. As long as he dared to shout, the dagger would stab him. Opportunities were not things that could be gambled on casually. Lu Zheng was timid. He was really scared. After all, he had parents. If he died at this time, it would be a disaster for his father. His parents raised him, but he hadn't done anything filial. For the sake of his parents, he must not let anything happen to him as long as there was a chance. I understand. Lu Zheng endured the pain in his thigh and said. Shen Chen saw that he was quite sensible, so he no longer made things difficult for him. He pointed to the 10,000 yuan and said, "Is it worth working for such a small amount of money?" Lu Zheng swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva and thought to himself, this bit of money might not be worth much in the eyes of people like you, but in his eyes, it's worth a lot. His salary in Yanjing was 4,500 yuan a month, which made the civil servants in the counties and cities below him who only received 2,450 yuan a month envious and jealous of him. But it really wasn't enough to cover all these expenses. The rent was 2,000 yuan a month, and the utility bills were 150 yuan apiece. Every day, they had to squeeze to and from work. The cheapest public transport cost 150 yuan a month, and the phone bill was another 150 yuan. If he didn't eat or drink, he would only be left with 2,000. What about food? What kind of place was Yanjing City? Even a meal of steamed buns cost 20 yuan. Even if he, Lu Zheng, ate steamed buns 3 times a day, it would still cost him 60 yuan, right? He could save money by eating instant noodles, but he didn't want to develop stomach cancer after a few years. If that happened, he wouldn't have the money to treat it and could only wait for death. This 4,500 yuan salary was just enough for him to spend. If he were to meet a friend who was getting married, he wouldn't even have the money to send gifts. Our values are different. The same amount of money might be worthless in your eyes, but it might be very valuable in my eyes. Lu Zheng endured the pain and said softly, "If you were stabbed, it would cost you 2,000 to 3,000 yuan to get it treated at the hospital." Shen Chen reached out to touch the dagger that was stuck in Lu Zheng's leg. Lu Zheng looked at him and quickly closed his eyes to endure the pain. But before Shen Chen touched the dagger, his hand stopped. "If I cut a few centimeters lower, your 10,000 yuan might not be enough to pay for the hospital's sponsorship." When Lu Zheng heard this, he opened his eyes wide in shock and looked at Shen Chen in horror. He didn't understand what he meant. "I really don't want to make things difficult for you, but don't make things difficult for me." Shen Chen said, "I can understand if you take 10,000 yuan from others and do 10,000 yuan for them. But I don't understand if you take 10,000 yuan to do something that will cost your life. Is your life so worthless?" Lu Zheng wanted to say something, but he was at a loss for words. That's right, he couldn't understand what he was doing. Last night, when he got home from work, he turned on his computer and prepared to be like an internet celebrity. He wanted to record a funny video of himself and upload it online. Who knows, he might become famous overnight. By then, he would be able to earn money from all kinds of cool and high-end entertainment activities. Would he still need to bend his back for money like now? Definitely not. Just as Lu Zheng was contemplating in front of his computer, the fake CEO Du suddenly came to his house. Before Lu Zheng could figure out what was going on, the fake CEO Du slapped the 10,000 yuan in front of him. "This is 10,000 yuan. If someone goes to the auction house to look for you, say that he is the real Du Tian and that he didn't go to the auction house today. You can insist that he was the one who went there." The fake CEO Du Tian said to Lu Zheng, "If you can do it, this 10,000 yuan is yours." This 10,000 yuan was too tempting for Lu Zheng. He definitely couldn't resist it and agreed on the spot. Moreover, he really didn't understand what it meant at that time. If he thought about it now, he wouldn't do it even if he was given 100,000 yuan, let alone 10,000 yuan. What was the use of money when he was going to lose his life? Earning money was built on the foundation of being alive to spend it. Otherwise, it would only be money to be burned to hell. Since I can find you here, it means that I understand your situation very well. Shen Chen said, "Everyone has a time when they don't have money. Everyone has a time when they have to bend their back for money. You have to think things through today and tell me what I want to know. Then, you can take the money and leave. Yanjing City is no longer a place for you to stay. If you explain everything to me, I can let you go." However, I can't guarantee that others won't let you go. Anyway, Lu Zhang was prepared to leave. If he didn't explain things clearly today, he was afraid that he would really die here. Big brother, if I tell you everything, will you really let me go? Lu Zhang asked cautiously. Let's make this clear. Don't. Shen Chen directly picked up the ashtray on the table and stepped forward to pull out the dagger from Lu Zhang's leg. Before Lu Zhang could cry out, Shen Chen directly put the ashtray on his wound and rubbed it hard. This thing was really strange. Just by rubbing it on, the bleeding stopped. At first, Lu Zhang thought that the other party was going to do something to him. Now, it turned out that it wasn't the case. Brother. Lu Zhang didn't know what Shen Chen meant. I stopped the bleeding for you so that you can bleed again. Shen Chen said, I won't talk nonsense with you. What does that person look like? Lu Zhang gritted his teeth. I have a video of him here. That day, he wanted to record a video of himself but didn't. In the end, the fake Du Tian came and recorded it. He didn't even notice it at that time. He only found out later. Originally, he had deleted the video. However, it was still in the recycle bin and hadn't been emptied. Shen Chen frowned. Really? Really? Lu Zhang turned on the computer and quickly found the video in the recycle bin. He opened it and showed it to Shen Chen. Shen Chen directly took a USB flash drive from his table. Give this to me. Copy this video for me. I will arrange for my brothers to send you away tonight. You better not stay in Yanjing for a minute longer. This is for your own good. Lu Zhang also knew that he got into big trouble. He didn't want to resign. Leave. Leave tonight. Fortunately, Shen Chen was quite particular. He didn't ask for the 10,000 yuan. This was the best care for Lu Zhang. Just based on this, Lu Zhang had to remember Shen Chen's favor. Chapter 12:12. Du Tian was in the upper-class circle in Yanjing City, and his most capable right-hand man, Shen Chen, was in the underworld. With Shen Chen's current status, it was easy for him to gather dozens of good brothers with just a whistle. Although dozens of people didn't sound like a lot, the appeal of these dozens of people was huge. If each person didn't say much, they could arrange 10 brothers who could really do things to find people, then they could gather hundreds of people. Not to mention that each of these people didn't just find 10 people to do things for them, but dozens of people. Brother Chan had already said that whoever found the whereabouts of the person in the video first would be given a 138 square meter house in the Yew Garden. With such a big reward, who wouldn't be interested? Moreover, the brothers all knew that Shen Chen was loyal and would definitely do what he said. If he said he would give it to someone, then he would definitely not go back on his word. As the saying goes, when there is a big reward, there will be brave men. If they really investigated this matter, it wouldn't be difficult. There were originally a lot of spies in the underworld, and there were brothers and friends everywhere. Maybe a little punk would remember someone with a long look. Of course, the house in the Yew Garden was still provided by Du Tian. This was the bargaining chip he gave to Shen Chen. It wasn't so easy to do things in the underworld. Not to mention seriously looking for someone. Even if he called 200 people to stand in front of him, it would cost at least 40 to 50,000 yuan. Therefore, it wasn't excessive for Du Tian to provide such a house. It was a must. Of course, these brothers in the underworld would collect money for other people's work, but who would dare to collect money for Shen Chen? Shen Chen's face was in front of them. If they didn't give him face, then they wouldn't be able to mingle in Yanjing City in the future. Everyone knew that Shen Chen was loyal. If he didn't pay attention to people, then he wouldn't pay attention to others. In the underworld, they needed a reputation. If their reputation was bad, then they wouldn't be able to mingle in the underworld. However, Du Tian still gave Shen Chen a hint, saying that he only needed to handle this matter. After finding the person, he didn't need to do anything. Now, he still didn't know the situation on Su Yun's side. He asked Shen Chen to keep a low profile. After everything was arranged, Shen Chen said a few words to his brothers. Everyone, whether you treat me as a brother or a brother, today I, Shen Chen, asked you to help me because I really believe in you. This doesn't sound like a big deal, but to me, it's a big deal. Brother Chen, don't worry. You've already spoken. If we don't do this for you, then we're not worthy of being your brothers. Immediately, some people began to shout out their support. Then I, Shen Chen, thank you in advance. When this is over, I'll be the host at Wong Fu Restaurant. Shen Chen said, finally, I'll give you all a reminder. Just look for it and send me a letter after you find it. Don't act rashly. If you alert the enemy, it will be bad for your good intentions. Do you all understand Chen's words? A slightly older gangster stood up. Pay attention to this and don't make any mistakes. Chen asked us to search, so we'll search. Don't F*King overdo it. After giving out the instructions, Shan Chen also finished his thoughts. When Su Yun left Du Tian his phone number, he saw it and unconsciously remembered it in his heart. That night, when he was free and finished reporting to Du Tian, he unexpectedly dialed Su Yun's phone number. Hello, who is this? Su Yun looked at the unfamiliar number and asked casually. President Su, it's me. Shen Chen said very respectfully, Shen Chen. The one with President Du. Oh. I remember. Su Yun smiled. He had slit his neck with a knife. How could he not remember? What's wrong? Why are you looking for me? Shen Chen paused for a moment before he said, I have something to tell you, CEO Su. I've got the appearance of the person who pretended to be President Du. There's a video. Shen Chen said, I thought about it and decided to send a copy to President Su. Su Yun had seen this person at the auction. Of course, he also hoped that Shen Chen would send him the video so that he could confirm whether it was the same person. Where are you now? I'll go and get it from you. Shen Chen knew that President Su would not come to him personally. No, I'll send it to you. President Su, just tell me the location. That's too embarrassing. Su Yun smiled, okay, then you can come to Pan Garden. I'll meet you at the door. Since Yuan Qingdi led the Brothers of the Dragon Battle Special Force to cut off Su Yun's tail, Su Yun came to Pan Garden with Ma San'er again. I'll go right away. Shen Chen was a little excited. Half an hour later, Shan Chen came to Pan Garden with the video. Su Yun met him at the door and went directly to Ma San'er's shop. Ma San'er had already prepared the computer. Shan Chen played the video. Su Yun recognized it at first glance. Yes, it was this person. However, Su Yun was more sure of one thing. This person must have undergone a subtle disguise. His cheekbones and chin were obviously treated with human skin silicone. Shen Chen, have you noticed this? Su Yun pointed it out clearly. He has disguised himself, so if you want to find this person, you have to find someone similar to him, such as his chin and cheekbones. This person will be different from the real person. Well, it seems a little difficult to find, but as long as you grasp the characteristics, it will be fine. This person's ears are bigger on the left side and smaller on the right side. The difference between the earlobes is like the difference between a penny and a coin. Is it obvious? Hearing Su Yun's words, Shen Chen realized that it was true. As long as you notice this, and this person's eyes can't be wrong. As long as you see someone similar to him, pay attention to the eyes and earlobes, you can basically be sure. Su Yun, don't do this with the mentality of it's better to kill 100 people by mistake than to let one person go. If you implicate innocent people, they will be troubled. Yes, I know, Brother Yun. Shen Chen couldn't wait to tell his brothers about this discovery immediately. Before leaving, Shen Chen hesitated for a moment and said, Mr. Su, there is something I want to tell you. Go ahead. Su Yun had a good impression of Shen Chen. I came here to tell you about this. Can you not tell Mr. Du? Shen Chen said. Su Yun smiled slightly. Of course he understood. Of course not. Mr. Du is really narrow-minded. Ha, I won't tell him. If I tell him, he will definitely overthink. Shen Chen also smiled embarrassedly. You don't need to use your whole life to repay the kindness of some people. Su Yun suddenly said, "There is no such thing as a favor that can never be repaid. You have to stop before you go too far. Otherwise, others will take it for granted." Ha ha. I said these words to you because I think we are fated. Shen Chen stood at the door of Ma San'er's shop for a long time before he nodded vigorously. "Mr. Su, I will remember your words. I am very grateful. You are all emotional people. Su Yun, we are brothers when we know each other. You also remember this. I see that you are a straightforward person, so I want to be friends with you. Don't be pretentious. It will make me dislike you, ha ha ha." Shen Chen left gratefully. He was so excited that he couldn't calm down for a long time. Ma San'er watched Shen Chen's car drive away and scratched his head. "Brother Yun, what do you think of this kid?" "Not bad." Su Yun nodded. "He mingles in the underworld." Ma San'er was a little experienced. Chapter 12-13. Based on Shen Chen's character, Su Yun also felt relieved to let him do things. It shouldn't be a problem to find someone. Although they didn't have much ability, this matter still needed them. In the past 3 days, almost all the punks in Yanjing City had been dispatched. Not for anything else, but for Shen Chen's righteousness. Many people who didn't have much interaction with Shen Chen were also willing to come forward to take a look. Whether they could help or not was a matter of face. What's more, this matter wasn't just a matter of face. If they really found someone, they could earn a house in the Yew Garden without having to show up personally. Why not? Only a fool wouldn't go. Just treat it as a lottery ticket. There were many people who were really prepared to rely on this to make a comeback. The 3 residences in the Yew Garden were worth at least 2 million yuan. No one would believe it if they said they weren't tempted. Who didn't have some greed? One wouldn't wake up early if there were no benefits. This was a matter of principle. He didn't know if the punks in Yanjing City usually didn't like to go out during the day. It was really a bit congested when they suddenly came out. Originally, there was no place to stop when they went out. Now, it was even better. Not to mention the places where they were allowed to park. Even the places where they were allowed to park were full. No matter if it was a Honda or a Grand Cherokee, no matter if it was a Santana or an old Volkswagen Jetta, as long as they came, they were sincerely helping. This was something that even Du Tian had to be convinced. Although Shen Chen had always been obedient to Du Tian still felt that he was raising a tiger. He didn't know why, but he always had this feeling. This feeling was like if he didn't suppress Shen Chen, maybe one day he would become a mere figurehead. In the past, Du Tian really didn't think that Shen Chen could have such a great appeal. This time, he really had a new level of respect for Shen Chen. However, Du Tian still felt a little uncomfortable. Although Shen Chen did a good job, it wasn't just for him. Du Tian had asked Shen Chen to do things before, and although Shen Chen didn't disappoint him every time, it wasn't as good as this time. Du Tian was a little jealous. He was jealous of Su Yun. He didn't know if Shen Chen would still work as hard as he did now if there was no Su Yun. Thousands of hoodlums in Yanjing City obeyed his orders. After 3 whole days, there was finally some progress. Finally, someone saw the suspicious person, but lost him again. Because of this, Shen Chen even got angry and scolded Bao harshly because this was Bao's fault. Initially, he had followed the suspect to the restaurant where he had dinner, but because he had drunk some wine, he was in a daze in the car for a while. In just a short while, the suspect could not find him. Later on, Bao gave chase. Just as he was about to catch up with the other party, he was stopped by the traffic police. "Aya, this investigation is serious." "Drunk driving." "No, it should be drunk driving." It was quite serious. He was directly brought back to the traffic police station to be dealt with. Bao drank some wine and was so arrogant that he didn't even know his own name. He flipped the table with the traffic police, saying that his brother was Shen Chen and his boss was Du Tian. The traffic police were least afraid of this kind of person who was fooling around. Their job was to deal with a rash person like Bao. The more he talked about how awesome his brother was, the more the traffic police felt that he was guilty. Originally, if he had said something nice and asked Du Tian to contact someone, the most they would have done was to fine him some money. This matter would have been over with one eye closed. Now, no matter what he said, his driving license was stripped clean and he was even detained. Du Tian felt that it was embarrassing, so Shen Chen spent a lot of effort to get him out. It was a waste of money and effort. However, Shen Chen could treat this as a small matter and close one eye. However, he couldn't accept that he had lost track of the other party. It wasn't easy for him to make progress, but now he had to start from scratch again. He felt that he had let Su Yun down. Du Tian called Shen Chen over for a drink today to talk to him about this matter. Chen, it's fine if you lose track of the other party. You can find him again. Bao likes to drink usually. You can't possibly cut off his tongue. This matter is in the past. There's no need to keep harping on it, right? I know what you're thinking. Isn't it that Su Yun? Do you have to think so much because of him? Shen Chen didn't say anything. He lowered his head and drank a mouthful of wine. He knew very well what Du Tian meant. I think you don't have to worry so much about this matter. Anyway, the brothers are following. Go out and have fun for a few days. When there's news, someone will naturally inform Bao and seventh brother. Du Tian said, I'll discuss it with Su Yun again. Hearing Du Tian's words, it seemed that he was going to make him a figurehead. CEO Du, since I've accepted this matter, I have to finish it well. This is what you taught me. Shen Chen disobeyed Du Tian for the first time. I can't withdraw from this matter. It's not my style to quit halfway. Chen, your wings have hardened. Du Tian smiled slightly. CEO Du, that person also hurt your face. Can you really bear it? Shen Chen didn't understand Du Tian's mentality. Why couldn't he give him some space? Brother, I call you brother today. You'll always be my brother. However, can you let me handle this matter myself? Du Tian sneered. Fine. Chen. You've grown up. My Du Tian temple can't tolerate you anymore. If you really think you can go to Su Yun's side, just tell me. Brother, what do you mean by this? Shen Chen was surprised. He didn't expect Du Tian to be so straightforward. Originally, he didn't believe that Du Tian would be so straightforward. But now that Du Tian had spoken, there was no room for him to keep it. Du Tian stared at Shen Chen. You still know that you should call me brother? Chen, touch your conscience and speak. 5 years ago, who were you in Yanjing City? Who led you to the road? Who gave you your current status? If it wasn't for me, what would you be now? You really think you're rich now, right? Then let me tell you, if you don't have any money or power, you won't be able to survive. You'll be a pile of mud until you die. Facing Du Tian's vicious attack, Shen Chen didn't refute. He still had a grateful heart. Brother, I know. You know my ass. Du Tian scolded. I gave you a status and identity. Now that you're doing well, you think my temple is small? If you want to jump, I won't stop you. Don't say that I'm hindering your future. After drinking this glass of wine today, you can do whatever you want. Everyone says that you're loyal, but I really don't think so. Shen Chen was still calm. Brother, I can't forget your kindness. In this life, as long as you don't ask me to leave, I'll follow you forever. If you ask me to leave, I'll definitely not stay and be an eyesore. But before I leave, I'll do this for you. Are you doing it for me or for Su Yun? Du Tian asked. Shen Chen's eyes were firm. I'll do it for you. This wasn't a lie. Shen Chen's primary responsibility was still to Du Tian. After all, Du Tian was his boss. The person who was beaten that day was also Du Tian. Du Tian was stunned. He didn't expect Shen Chen to be so firm. His voice softened. Chen, I've been too tired these days. I drank a bit and spoke nonsense. If there's anything wrong, don't take it to heart. Words couldn't be spoken carelessly. If they were wrong, it would really hurt. Sit, sit, sit. Du Tian said. You're my brother, and you'll always be my brother. I'll definitely do this well. Mr. Du, I won't drink anymore. Drinking too much will delay things. I'll leave first. Shan Chen was no longer in the mood to drink. He directly stood up and said, You should rest early too. Originally, Du Tian had already called him brother, but now it became Mr. Du. Du Tian was dizzy and didn't care about the meaning of the last call. Chapter 12-14. On the fifth day, Shan Chen finally found the suspicious person in a nightclub called Imperial Capital Entertainment in the southern part of the city. Ever since Shan Chen drank with Du Tian last time, he didn't even show up at Du Tian's place for the past 2 days. He was fully focused on finding the person. Yanjing City was only so big. In just 2 days, Shan Chen ran almost 5 laps around the city. Fortunately, hard work paid off, and he finally caught the opportunity. In order to see more clearly, Shan Chen even gave a waiter 500 yuan to change his clothes and asked him to send some drinks to the private room. The waiter didn't dare to do it because he was afraid of being fined. However, the head waiter, Sister Lin, recognized Shan Chen at a glance. Oh, isn't this Brother Chen? Why didn't you call me in advance when you came to our place? I could have arranged it for you earlier. Sister Lin said, I could have left a few more beautiful girls for you to drink with. Shan Chen often accompanied Du Tian and some project managers to this kind of place with some leaders who had the power to approve land and get permits stamped. Therefore, some of the foremen in these places were familiar with him. Sister Lin, right? I'm not here to play today. Get me a set of clothes. There are a few people in the room. They might want to talk about business with Du Tian. I'm here today to take a look. Shan Chen said, I don't want to cause trouble for you. What do you think? Sister Lin smiled slightly. She couldn't read Shan Chen's expression. However, she was sure that if she didn't arrange it, Shan Chen would really come to this place. Although their boss was quite capable, he might not be able to go against Du Tian. Besides, Shan Chen was their potential customer. Everyone knew about his relationship with Du Tian. If they didn't give him face this time, Shan Chen would say that it wasn't good the next time Du Tian came here. Then, they wouldn't be returning customers in the future. Since Brother Chan has something to do, I will definitely cooperate. Sister Lin immediately asked someone to prepare the clothes for Shan Chen. Shan Chen didn't trust his subordinates, so he did it himself. After entering the private room, the lights were dim. Moreover, the suspicious person was hugging a girl at the bar and nibbling on her small breasts. He couldn't see his face clearly. However, he was sure that there were 4 people in the room. There were 8 bar hostesses. Shan Chen wanted to hear what the other party was saying, but he couldn't hear clearly. The singing was too chaotic. What are you doing? After delivering the wine, why didn't he scram? What was he doing here? Watching a reality show? Among the 4 of them, the one who was the most distinguishable was the bald man. He was hugging the girls left and right. His left hand was touching the thigh of a young lady, and his right hand was rubbing the chest of a young lady. He was having a lot of fun. When he saw Shan Chen put down the wine and didn't leave, he scolded him. Shan Chen thought of his identity as a guest waiter and had no choice but to leave. He had no choice. He couldn't act rashly and alert the enemy. He had to find another way. When Shan Chen left the room, the guy who had been burying his face in the bosom of the waitress suddenly raised his head and asked the bald man, "What wine did you order?" "Centaur Tianchun XO, Baldy said. "I say, can't we change the taste? You're always talking about Remy Martin." That person complained. Baldy spat. "Then what do you want to drink?" "This was the cheapest one. 750. I also want to try something like Hennessy Richard, Emperor Napoleon." "Are you paying the F*King bill?" "Then let's change to Hennessy XO. It's the same price as Centaur Tianchun. Don't drink the same kind of wine all day. It makes me want to vomit." Although Shan Chen left, his ears didn't. He heard what he needed to hear. The one who wanted to change the taste was their suspect target. There were still arguments in the room. What the F***ck do you drink and not vomit? The wine is about the same price, so the taste is about the same. Next time you pay the bill, drink whatever you want. When this job is over and boss gives you a bonus, you must open a bottle of Emperor Napoleon and give us a treat. A bottle of wine costs 6,000 to 7,000. Do you really think you're a nouveau riche? F***ck. Do nouveau riches drink this? Nouveau riches drink red wine that costs hundreds of thousands a bottle. Our Huaxia nouveau riches are nothing compared to those nouveau riches in the Middle East. They are the ones who are awesome. They eat golden capsules every day. One of them is so expensive that it's equivalent to 2 years of the income of a civil servant in the capital. They just want their poop to shine like gold. Ha ha ha. The people in the room chatted and laughed. They let the waitresses drink with them. There were 4 people, 8 waitresses, and 2 bottles of Remy Martin Tianchun XO set meal. The cost was not low. Poor people couldn't afford this kind of room. Although the place was a little remote, there was a minimum cost for this private room. The wine was served slowly. Sooner or later, they would be able to drink 10,000 yuan. The 8 waitresses' alcohol tolerance was not just for show. Each of them could drink half a liter without a problem. Shen Chen walked out of the private room and walked to Sister Lin. He took out 2,000 yuan and threw it to her. Get me a bottle of Hennessy. Don't stop. What's going on? The more Sister Lin didn't understand Shen Chen's thoughts, the more she didn't dare to speak carelessly. Brother Chen, you want a drink? I want to save you some trouble and money. Shen Chen said, who knows, I might even be able to get a few repeat customers for you. Shen Chen took the wine and went to the private room again. The 4 people were having fun with the 8 waitresses. When they saw the waiter come in again, they were immediately disgusted. The bald man's reaction was the strongest. Are you stupid? The wine is already served. If you didn't call you wouldn't have come. F***ck, can't you let people have fun? I'm sorry, big brothers. Our foreman is here to deliver the wine. Shen Chen quickly took the wine. Don't stop, Hennessy. Oh hey. The suspect was finally interested. He crawled out of the waitress's arms and stared at the wine on the table. He looked up and asked Shen Chen, your foreman is quite generous, huh? The wine, fruits, and snacks we ordered cost less than 3,000 yuan. Your foreman gave us a bottle of wine that cost more than 1,000 yuan. What's the meaning of this? Nothing. Big brothers, you take care of her business and let her sisters eat. We just want to express our gratitude. It's not enough to show our respect. I hope you don't mind. Shen Chen stared at the suspect's eyes, chin, and ears. He understood in his heart, big brothers, have a good drink. If there's anything wrong with the service, please forgive us. The bald man changed his attitude towards Shen Chen. Little brother, you have a bright future. You know how to talk. Ha ha ha, come, sit down and have a drink with us. Anyway, it was you who gave us the wine. No. I still have to do something. Big brothers, have a good drink. Shen Chen said and left. He cursed in his heart. F***ck off. I spent money to buy the wine. I'll just treat it as feeding the dog. When Shen Chen came out, he called Su Yun as he changed out of his waitress uniform. He had to inform her as soon as possible. This person was too suspicious. His eyes, chin, and earlobes. They all met the requirements. If he didn't seize the opportunity, he didn't know how many days it would take to find this person's whereabouts again. Moreover, so many people had been looking for this matter for several days. Shen Chen was somewhat embarrassed. His brothers were giving face to him, but this face couldn't be taken for granted. In these 5 days, the money spent to treat people to drinks and cigarettes was enough to buy a Passat. After all, thousands of people were looking for this matter. How could he let them work for nothing? Of course not. So this time, Shen Chen finally recognized the person. A big stone was lifted from his heart. His task was completed. His brothers could also do their own things. They didn't need to worry about the rest. Although Su Yun said that he didn't need to do anything and only needed to keep an eye on the person, he had his own ideas. He wouldn't do anything first. When Su Yun came, he would definitely be the first to rush up if he needed to do something. Chapter 12:15. Su Yun was quite surprised when he received Shen Chen's call. In his opinion, Shen Chen shouldn't have contacted him, but Du Tian was the correct procedure. This was good for him and Du Tian. As long as Su Yun could get the information he wanted, he didn't care about anything else. It wasn't close from Panjiayuan to the Imperial Capital Entertainment Center in the south of the city. There were many cars on the road at 9 o'clock. Many people were busy going to various entertainment venues after dinner. There were many entertainment venues in the south of the city, both formal and informal. In short, after dinner, there were many people going south. It was the same reason why people in the southernmost part of Huaxia liked to go west to Dongguan. It was easy to have small conflicts on the road with many cars. Now, people were getting more and more arrogant. It was a small thing to have conflicts, but there were always people who lost their temper. This kind of anger was basically ignited. Once they made a scene, they didn't care if they were blocking other people's roads. They just needed to take a picture and quickly park the car aside. If they insisted on fighting, they would just say a few words if they handled it well. If they didn't handle it well, they might fight. 9 out of 10 cars on the street were driven by road-angry people. How could it not be easy to get into trouble? There were many road-angry people. The main reason was that there were too many people who didn't follow the rules. They changed lanes and didn't care about others. The purpose of turning on the headlights was not to see the road, but to blind the driver's eyes. They started at the traffic light like crazy, not because they thought that there would be more cars behind them, but to show that their horsepower was more powerful than the people next to them. Not only the drivers, but the pedestrians also didn't follow the rules. They always felt that no matter what, the drivers were responsible. They certainly didn't dare to hit them. So, they were as domineering as a crab, as if the whole street belonged to them. Because there were more people like this, there were more road-angry people. Today, Su Yun was stuck on the road because of a small friction in front of him. The dispute was settled for more than half an hour, and a pile of cars blocked the road for more than half an hour. In the end, it didn't end well. Behind them was an imported Mercedes-Benz Elegance that seemed low-key but was not cheap. The boss sitting in the car was very cultured. Looking at the low-key car, it could be seen that it was expensive. What couldn't it be bought with 8 or 900,000 yuan? He had already gotten an entry-level A8, but he insisted on getting such a bread-like elegant. But after half an hour, the boss in the car finally couldn't take it anymore. He had already made an appointment with someone. The two people in front of him were still dilly-dallying. He really wasn't going to let her go. The boss, who was wearing a Chinese tunic suit, suddenly said to the driver, "Run them over." After that, he said to a burly young man beside him, "You get out of the car and deal with it." "Yes." The burly young man said and directly opened the door and got out of the car. As soon as the door closed, the driver stepped on the accelerator and squeezed the two cars blocking the road to the side of the road. He directly opened a bloody path and drove away. This was definitely a great act of kindness that benefited the country and the people. Because of this, the drivers behind them applauded and cheered. Su Yun and Ma Saner were also beneficiaries. They applauded the courage of the elegant driver. Of course, these two good dogs blocking the road were unwilling. They shouted and wanted to chase after him. Unfortunately, the burly young man picked them up and lined them up on the car windshield without saying anything. It seemed that there would be a good show tonight. But Su Yun was not in the mood to watch a show at this moment. The task that Wang Yi gave him had been done for a few days, and there was still no progress. Although Wang Yi didn't say anything, Su Yun felt uncomfortable in his heart. He had to solve this matter as soon as possible. After solving this matter, he was still preparing to meet Wei Yishan. He didn't find trouble with him that day because Su Yun really didn't have the time to do so. And now Wei Yishan seemed to be looking for trouble with him. How could Su Yun sit back and do nothing? Su Yun had already told them to be very careful in Qingdao and Shenzhen. Some things were better off being safe than sorry. So this matter should be solved as soon as possible. He didn't have the time to drag it out. After passing through this traffic jam, the road behind was much smoother. Ma San'er was familiar with the road. He drove like he was going back to his own home. Su Yun asked him if he often came to these places in the south of the city for entertainment. Ma San'er really didn't come to these places for entertainment. He came several times for a child, the girl who was raised by him in the valley. It wasn't that the girl became bad in university, but the girl's brother also wanted to go to school. The girl was embarrassed to ask Ma San'er for help, so she decided to earn money for her brother's school. What could a third-year student do if she wanted to earn money quickly? She was tricked by a few girls with questionable character and came here. They said that she didn't have to work as a waitress and would be paid 8,000 yuan a month. Bah! Ma San'er didn't King believe it. There were so many laid-off aunties waiting for employment. If they were paid 8,000 yuan just to be waitresses, would they still need to go through confinement training? Then they should all be waitresses. It was easier than being a waitress in a restaurant. They only had to clean up wine bottles and cigarette ashes and clean dishes without oil stains. Moreover, they earned more. The restaurant owner was black-hearted and only paid 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. The owners of these entertainment places were all conscientious in the industry and directly paid 8,000 yuan. There must be something going on. 8,000 yuan wasn't that easy to earn. If she met a few drunken idiots, they might harm the child. Ma San'er heard from one of her friends in school, so he rushed over and took the girl away that day. He patted his chest and said, "I'll pay for your brother's school fees. You should King go back to school." Ma San'er, who had always been gentle to them, cursed. The girl went back, but came back a few days later. She couldn't stand being tricked. Ma San'er was anxious this time. He directly scolded the girls who instigated her to come. When the girl came back for the third time, Ma San'er directly slapped her. He said, "I supported your school for so many years not to let you sell your body. If you want to earn money with your body, you don't have to go to school. School is for you to sell your brain." This slap finally woke the girl up. A year later, the girl successfully graduated and took the postgraduate entrance exam. She studied law and was highly regarded by a famous lawyer during her internship. When she was a postgraduate student, she had already found a job in the central office of COD. It was a very impressive law firm. The girl's gratitude towards Ma San'er couldn't be described with words. Therefore, she decided to repay him with her body. This girl was the girl that Ma San'er told Su Yun that he was going to marry. Therefore, after 2 years, Ma San'er came back to the nightless city at the edge of Nanqing. He had some feelings in his heart, but these feelings couldn't be shared. He could only experience it himself. After parking the car, the two saw Shan Chen coming up to them. The few brothers who were surrounding Shan Chen were stunned. They thought that this big shot was finally here. Even Brother Chen was trotting over. "Chairman Su, you're here." Shan Chen said, "I've seen that person. I'm sure that there's no problem with the characteristics. They're drinking in private room number 3 and 6. They're having fun with a few hostesses. It's good that you're sure. I believe you're not wrong." Su Yun said, "Then there's nothing for you to do here. Let the brothers go back. When this is over, I'll treat you and Chairman Du to a drink." Shen Chen took a deep breath. "Chairman Su, I'll let the brothers go back. I won't go back. I'll finish this with you." Chapter 12:16. I'll stay. Shan Chen pleaded again, "Mr. Su, I'm familiar with this place. Maybe you really need my help. Believe me, I'll be able to help if I stay." "Believe me, you won't be able to help if you stay." Ma San'er said, "Go home, wash up, and sleep. You've completed this matter successfully. We sincerely thank you. Really. If we let you stay, we'll be cheating you. Brother, We're all honest people. Do you think what I said makes sense? Shen Chen nodded. I know you're doing this for my own good, but this matter. If I don't handle it well, it'll be a knot in my heart. I won't be able to eat or sleep well. Didn't you tell Mr. Du about this? Su Yun suddenly asked. Shen Chen was stunned at first, then he nodded and said nothing. Su Yun smiled slightly. Brother, thank you. I know why you did this. If I tell Mr. Du about this, you're afraid that he'll do something that I can't accept easily. But you told me directly that no matter what I do, I'll avenge Mr. Du, am I right? Mr. Su, there are some things that I really don't know how to say. Shen Chen was a little helpless and a little melancholy. I also hope to tell you through Mr. Du first. This way, I'll look good on my face, but, as you said, there are some things that I really can't do. What do you mean, Mr. Du? Su Yun asked. Do you want to deal with this matter alone? Shen Chen shook his head helplessly. I don't know what Mr. Du is thinking now. We drank together the day before yesterday. I don't want to stay with him anymore. Sometimes, it's good to be a little ambitious. Su Yun said meaningfully. However, you'd better not get involved in this matter with me. If you just told me about it, there's no evidence, and CEO Du can't say anything about it. But if you do this with me behind his back, then the taste will be different. Now it's different. Shen Chen said lightly, Mr. Su, if you don't want to get into trouble, then I won't bother you. Do you think Brother Yun is someone who's afraid of trouble? Ma Saner asked in a bad mood. Today, we're here to stir up big trouble. You think Du Tian is awesome, but in front of our brother Yun, what is he? He wasn't even worth mentioning. It's true, I'm not bragging. I know. This is definitely not a bluff. Shen Chen said, otherwise, you wouldn't have come to Mr. Du's door directly. I knew that this was definitely not a small matter, so Mr. Du didn't want me to intervene. I didn't agree with him. Su Yun was startled. It seemed like there was some friction between him and Du Tian, otherwise he would not have said such words. Then what does Du Tian mean? Didn't we agree to cooperate? Ma Saner glared and said, why are you not allowed to intervene again? Is he toying with us? Su Yun was very clear about this matter. Mr. Du is too suspicious. Does he have any prejudice against you? Shen Chen didn't say anything, but this matter was too clear. Even if he didn't say it, Su Yun could roughly guess it. It must be that Du Tian felt that Shen Chen was too attentive in this matter, and too much effort was placed on Su Yun's side, not on his side. Some people's tolerance was so small. Perhaps it was a trivial matter, but it could make him think a lot. This matter is over, and I don't plan to continue working with Mr. Du. Shen Chen suddenly raised his head and said. Do you want to work with Brother Yun? Ma Saner took over the conversation. Brother, don't think too much. You are doing very well. Isn't it good to work with Mr. Du? And there are many people in Yanjing City who will listen to your orders. If you don't work with Du Tian, who will you work with? Do it alone. Shen Chen's answer was quite open-minded. If Mr. Su doesn't mind, let me run errands for you. That's my ancestors' blessing. If there is no such opportunity, I will start a small business myself. It's better than working for others. After a pause, Shen Chen continued, Mr. Du and I have made a lot of money over the years. Although we are not famous in the upper class, we are still popular in Yanjing City. But I know how many people I have offended. These people are not to be trifled with, but they are not strong enough. If Mr. Du gets into trouble one day, the first one to fall will be me, Shen Chen. It seemed that this kid was also very clear. Although he had a good relationship with Du Tian, once something happened, it would definitely be a big problem. This was 100% certain. Shen Chen also knew what kind of reputation Du Tian had. When the day came, the monkeys would scatter. The only one who could stay by Du Tian's side was Shen Chen. But Shen Chen was now bitterly disappointed. Because of such a small matter, Du Tian actually said those words. Okay, then you will stay today. Let me see how much firepower you have. Su Yun smiled slightly. At this time, The Mercedes-Benz Elegant that Su Yun and the others had met in a traffic jam suddenly stopped in front of the nightclub called Imperial Capital Entertainment. Just as Shen Chen was about to go in with Su Yun and Ma San, the bald man suddenly appeared. Shen Chen was shocked when he saw the suspicious person behind the bald man. He grabbed Su Yun and gave him a look. Su Yun reacted immediately. Following Shen Chen's gaze, he recognized the person at a glance. A master of disguise not only needed the help of tools, but also needed the expression to make it difficult for people to distinguish the real from the fake. Obviously, this person was not a master of disguise. He could only change the superficial appearance, but his eyes could not be changed. Yes, Shen Chen did not find the wrong person. Su Yun's brows frowned slightly. The door of the Mercedes-Benz Elegant opened. Several people filed in and then left. Su Yun didn't dare to delay and immediately called Ma San to get in the car. Ma San was still lamenting about the things that happened here in the past. He didn't come back to his senses at all. When he came back to his senses, Su Yun had already driven out. He sat in the back row, and Shen Chen was sitting in the front passenger seat. Ma San, who came back to his senses, asked blankly, "What's going on?" "The person has run away." "Why are you still in a daze?" Shen Chen said. Ma San was not convinced. "I'm not talking about the suspect. I'm talking about you. Why did you really follow us? Are you really not going to work with Du Tian?" Shen Chen did not say anything. There was nothing to say about things that had already been decided. Seeing the black Qian chasing after the suspect, Bao and Old Seven, who Shen Chen always liked to bring along with him, were dumbfounded. Bao smacked his lips and said, "Old Seven, did our brother Chen go drinking with them?" "Damn it, other than drinking, do you know anything else?" Old Seven was speechless. "If you did not drink and delay things, we would not have been unable to sleep well for 2 days. We can't control this matter anymore. Let's go back and report to President Du." "Report what?" Bao still had a blank look on his face. "Did you drink too much today?" Old Seven really wanted to give him a slap. "Brother Chen went to chase after that bastard with President Su. If we don't report to President Du, who should we report to? Shouldn't we report this matter to him?" "Yes, we should report to him." Bao suddenly realized. "Then what the hell are you waiting for? Let's go back." "You can't drive." "Didn't I drink a little in the afternoon? Besides, I don't have a driver's license now. You can't let me drive without a license, right?" Bao was still in the right. Chapter 12:17. Once Su Yun chased out, he was on a road of no return. The Mercedes-Benz Elegant led all the way and directly got on the highway in the south of Yanjing. It looked like they were going out of Beijing. Ma San was dumbfounded. "Brother, what's the situation? Are we going out of the city? What about my shop?" "Inside, there are still the things you bought at the auction." Ma San glanced at Shen Chen halfway through his words. Later, he thought that Shen Chen wasn't the kind of person who would take advantage of others' difficulties, so he told him about the shop. If it was someone else, Ma San really didn't dare to say it. If this person had evil intentions and arranged a few people to rob him, then there was nothing he could do. "I really don't have time to care about the shop's matters." Su Yun followed the Mercedes-Benz Elegant and got on the highway in the south of Yanjing. There was no time to hesitate now. Maybe a second of hesitation would miss the last opportunity. Once these people left Yanjing City, they really couldn't be found. Huaxia was so big. The land border was 9.6 million square kilometers and the sea border was nearly 3 million square kilometers. Where could he find them? Therefore, Su Yun must keep an eye on them. There was only one chance, and it wouldn't come again. "If the shop really needs it, I will arrange a few brothers to help you," Shen Chen said righteously. He didn't feel anything. Since he got on this car, even if he chased them to the end of the world, what could he do? Anyway, he didn't intend to continue to work with Du Tian, the boss. No, no, it's better not. Ma Saner said, don't do bad things with good intentions. It's okay if your people don't know about my shop. If they know, there might be some trouble. Just look at your President Du's narrow-mindedness. Shen Chen also understood the meaning of Ma Saner's words. President Du was really too narrow-minded. There's nothing valuable. Just put it inside. Su Yun. It won't be lost. Even if it's lost, it's on me. You have nothing to lose. You can rest assured and finish this with me. Brother Yun, didn't we agree that I can choose one of those things that I like? That means that there is also my property. Ma Saner pursed his lips and said worriedly, I hate thieves the most. I don't feel distressed if something is broken or lost, but I feel distressed if a thief steals it. I can't accept this. Su Yun didn't have time to continue to talk with Ma Saner. He slowly approached the Mercedes-Benz Viano. Shen Chen reassured Ma Saner, Panjiayuan's security system has always been strict. Nothing will happen. You really believe the people in the security system? The security company hired some idlers. They are not professional at all. Who would stay here to earn a guard fee of 1,800 yuan a month? Their monthly salary can't even afford to eat noodles with a poached egg. Ma Sander said unhappily, tell me with this level, what kind of thief can they guard? Ma Saner in the car behind was nagging, and the people in the Mercedes-Benz Viano in the front were not calm either. You can't even do such a small thing. What else can you do? The middle-aged man in a Chinese tunic suit said faintly, I told you to keep a low profile. Keep a low profile. If necessary, it doesn't matter even if you do things ruthlessly. After a pause, the boss in the Chinese tunic suit continued, What about you? What did you do? You found the most troublesome person, Du Tian. You did things carelessly and didn't take care of him properly. Now, you're the one being investigated. When did you learn to be careful? Boss. No one expected this. The bald man smiled and said, According to our previous investigation, among the people who went to the auction that day, Du Tian was the weakest. That's why we went to him. Who knew that there was a brat under him who was so serious and insisted on finding us to avenge his boss. Yeah, in the past few days, a bunch of unemployed people have appeared in Yanjing City in broad daylight for no reason. Damn it. The person who pretended to be Du Tian on the day of the auction was called Shi Lanhua. Usually, everyone jokingly called him Broccoli. Although this person usually didn't say anything, he was really ruthless when he did things. The reason he was asked to do this was so that he could make the most effective decision in the face of an unexpected situation. Broccoli, this is actually your fault. You should have just killed him. A skinny guy sitting next to the bald man complained, What's the use of beating him up? Shi Lanhua frowned. What do you know? I just didn't want to make this a big deal. Although Du Tian isn't the top in Yanjing City, he's still considered a member of the upper class. If we killed him and were discovered on the day of the auction, we wouldn't even have a chance to escape. That's a very good point, the man in the Chinese tunic suit said calmly. Shi Lanhua smiled proudly after receiving his boss's praise. Once this matter was settled, he would be able to receive a sizable bonus. This was what his boss had told him before. As long as he received this sum of money, he would be in for a great deal of joy. Then how are you going to get rid of that little tail behind us? When the man in the Chinese tunic suit spoke, his face was expressionless. No one could tell what he was thinking at that moment. Tail. Hearing the boss's words, the four people in the car all turned to look at the rear window. Through the privacy glass, they could clearly see a Kian with a Shenzhong license plate about 300 meters away from them. This car. Shi Lanhua looked at the boss in confusion. Is there a problem? When I went to the Capital Entertainment to pick you up, I saw this car on the way. It was also going to the Capital Entertainment. The man in the Chinese tunic suit said, They were in a hurry, so I asked the driver to slow down and follow them all the way to the Capital Entertainment. There were only young people in the car. They should have been there for fun. Why did they follow us as soon as we left? The bald man scratched his bald head. Boss, are you sure it's the same car? Of course, I'm sure. The man in the Chinese tunic suit was a little unhappy with the bald man's questioning. Then, what should we do? The bald man was a little confused. He didn't like to use his brain. Song Chong, I think you're really Baldy Chong. Shi Lanhua scolded. Of course we have to kill them. We can't let them follow us all the way. Don't worry, let's test them first. The man in the Chinese tunic suit smiled and said to the driver, fill up the gas at the service area in front. I'm going to the bathroom. The people in the car all understood the boss's meaning and nodded. They had just gotten on the highway. No one could go directly to the service area. So if the Kian followed them, they could be sure. They could just take action on the road. The highway was so dangerous. It was normal to have a car accident or something. The man in the Chinese tunic suit believed that his driver had the ability to make the other party fall on the road. He only needed to borrow the transport and logistics truck to make them die without a burial place. It wasn't as if his chauffeur hadn't done this before. He was very experienced. The man in the Chinese tunic suit narrowed his eyes and thought, you want to play with me? You're still too young. Learn for a few more years before you come out. Maybe you can make a small contribution to the people. You're not even fully grown yet, and you want to make a big contribution? Too impatient. Obviously, the man in the Chinese tunic suit had thought that the white Kian was with the police. Chapter 12:18. When the Mercedes-Benz Elegant drove into the first highway rest area, Su Yun didn't follow in. His brain was spinning rapidly. This was definitely not right. Hey, brother. You drove past. That car entered the rest area. Ma Saner made threatening gestures. He couldn't wait to help Su Yun drive. If you're tired, I'll drive. I'm not tired. It's easy to get into trouble if I drive when I'm tired. Do you think they're fools to go in with them now? Su Yun said faintly. He drove forward unhurriedly. We've seen this Elegant at the scene of the accident on the highway. The driver's skills are pretty good. He knocked down 2 cars and his headlights weren't damaged at all. At most, the front bumper was polished. Then, nothing could be seen. Ma Saner suddenly realized. So it's that car. It's actually an acquaintance. Brother Yun, you're not joking, right? Do I look like I'm joking? Su Yun, if I can remember their car, there must be someone in their car who can remember my car. That's for sure. So, they will inevitably be suspicious. Shen Chen grinned. I pretended to be a waiter and went in to meet them. If we meet later, do I have to avoid them? It depends on the situation. This matter. It's hard to say. Su Yun, if they're just suspicious and can't confirm it, then we'll try to avoid them. If they're really suspicious, then there's nothing we can do. Seeing that they were getting farther and farther away from the rest area of the highway, Ma Saner was a little anxious. Then what should we do? We can't run in front of them, right? Aren't we following them? In the end, they're the ones following us. Let's go to the rest area and wait. We'll fill up the gas while we're at it. Su Yun showed an imperceptible smile. If they're suspicious, I'll let them think that they're overthinking. If they feel that it's fine, I'll make them worry again. It's not that easy to leave Beijing so smoothly. Mr. Su is right. This way, the initiative is in our hands. They are not playing with us, but we are playing with their hearts. Shen Chen said, this way, the other party will not dare to act rashly. Ma Saner finally understood what was going on. Brother Yun, your brain works too fast. You can think of so many things in such a short time. All right, I think the other party is really unlucky to have met you this time. Shi Lanhua and the man in the Chinese tunic suit stood in front of the urinal in the restroom of the Yanjing Southern Expressway service area. Boss, are we overthinking things? Shi Lanhua asked suspiciously. When the black Kian saw them enter the server, it didn't even pause for a second. With a whoosh, it overtook them and left. It didn't look like a tracking vehicle at all. This made him feel that they were indeed too suspicious. The man in the Chinese tunic suit didn't say anything. He focused on peeing. He didn't know how to count with his fingers and said it was 6. The math teacher was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He was already in the 3rd grade. He was 10 years old. He didn't know that 3 plus 2 equals 5 and still said it was 6. The teacher was so angry that he cursed, "Idiot." From then on, he had such an indecent nickname. Whether it was the male or female students, they all called him an idiot. So he was very sensitive to the word idiot. In his eyes, second boss was no different from an idiot boss, so he didn't allow others to call him that. They could call him boss, but they couldn't call him an idiot. Another thing was that he didn't like people smoking. This was related to middle school. The girl he had a crush on in the school's grove was taken by a ruffian. He skipped class and happened to pass by when he heard the noise. After the two of them were done, he imitated the ruffian and lit a cigarette, saying, "A cigarette after love is better than a living immortal." At that time, he was a coward in school and didn't dare to challenge the ruffian. He just endured the smoke and listened to his goddess act coquettishly in the ruffian's arms. Since then, the smell of smoke reminded him of the grove that shamed him for eternity. 10 years ago, he had already hired someone to cripple the ruffian who had traumatized him. Later, the ruffian died in less than 2 years. However, the trauma still hadn't disappeared. His goddess was also expelled because she was pregnant in middle school. Later, she couldn't bear the psychological pressure and committed suicide. Of course, he wouldn't say these things out loud, but he definitely didn't like it when it reminded him of these unpleasant memories. He wasn't talking about anyone else when he said, "Smoking really won't live long." He was talking about the ruffian who left him with a shadow in middle school. The Chinese tunic suit admired Shi Lanhua among these people. There was a very important reason, and that was because Shi Lanhua didn't smoke. Now that many companies were like this, those who didn't smoke would definitely have an advantage in recruitment. Of course, this definitely wasn't referring to business-related jobs. If a business-related job didn't know how to eat, drink, whore, and gamble, then they definitely wouldn't be able to survive. This was the industry's rule and the country's national conditions. After everyone got in the car, the Mercedes-Benz Viano got back on the road. The Chinese tunic suit called Yanjing. It was a call to the burly young man who stayed on the highway to help him stop the 2 road rage youths. "Leiyu, go check the fastest flight. There's a situation here. We're already on the highway and won't be picking you up." Chapter 12:19. Su Yun and Shen Chen went to the next highway service area in the south of Yanjing and filled up the tank as fast as they could. Ma Sanner and Shen Chen went to the supermarket to carry a carton of Red Bull, 2 cartons of mineral water, and a bunch of bread and cooked meat. These were all things to prepare for a long war. After all, they didn't know where the car would drive from Yanjing to. What if it drove all the way to the southwest border? They also didn't know if the other party had prepared food and drinks for a long-distance attack. Ma Sanner didn't care too much. He gulped down 2 bottles of Red Bull and squinted his small eyes to look out the window. He didn't know if he was wondering why the other party hadn't come yet or worried about the things in his shop. In fact, they didn't wait long before the Mercedes-Benz Yarrow appeared. Su Yun's spirit was instantly lifted and he stepped on the accelerator to catch up. Shen Chen was also excited. He really had the impulse to grab a weapon and attack. Su Yun followed the car out. Now that it was getting late, they had to get closer, but they couldn't be too close to be discovered. This was definitely a kind of technical work. Su Yun was very careful on the road, but he still couldn't escape the suspicion of the old fox in the car in front of them. "Lan Hua, do you feel anything?" The boss in the Chinese tunic suit asked lightly. Shi Lanhua nodded. He did feel that something was wrong, but he didn't say anything. He was afraid that the second boss would say that he couldn't keep his cool. Now that the second boss asked, of course he had to say something. "Boss, I keep feeling that something is wrong behind us. I feel like someone is following us, but I can't sense it. The man in the Chinese tunic suit nodded. Yes, I feel the same way. Sometimes, one person's feeling can be wrong, but if two people feel the same way, it can't be wrong. Shi Lanhua was stunned. Boss, you mean that car is still following us? It's not impossible. The man in the Chinese tunic suit said faintly, Do you understand what I mean? Shi Lanhua pondered for a moment and answered tentatively, Because after passing through the Yanjing South Expressway service zone, we passed through another service zone. That car. Is it possible that it was waiting for us at the service zone, waiting for us to lower our guard before continuing to follow us? F*CK. Baldy quickly turned around and looked behind the car. He only saw a few headlights. He didn't feel anything wrong at all. That's very likely. The Chinese tunic suit said faintly, However, you're really good at keeping your composure. You've already sensed it, yet you're able to endure it and not tell me. With the boss here, I don't have the right to speak. Shi Lanhua said, Boss always has a card up his sleeve. Nothing can escape his eyes, so I just need to listen to his orders. I don't need to think about anything else. There wasn't a boss who wouldn't like a subordinate who had brains and knew how to talk. Good, very good. If you can tell, it means that you're more attentive than the others. I wasn't wrong about you, and you didn't disappoint me. Shi Lanhua, you're good. Second boss is praising you so much. You're the next one to be promoted. Baldy was wild with joy. He didn't pay attention and blurted out, Second boss. The Chinese tunic suit's expression instantly turned ugly. In front of a boss, it was obvious what kind of subordinate was likable and what kind was not. Compared to Baldy, Shi Lanhua's performance was even more outstanding and in high spirits. Baldy realized his slip of the tongue and immediately shut his mouth. If second boss was really angry, he would really kick him out of the car and run down the expressway himself. Baldy didn't know if other people would do this, but second boss would definitely do it. Fortunately, all kinds of subordinates had their uses. For example, this Baldy smoked and didn't know how to speak. He didn't use his brain when doing things and would always do things that were critical of him. He would even say, Second boss, from time to time. How could the Chinese tunic suit like someone like that? But this guy was a meat shield at critical times. He could take care of things and save lives. This was Baldy's use. He wasn't useful as a military advisor or a founding general, but as a scapegoat when something happened. It was impossible to complete a task smoothly. There would be all kinds of difficulties along the way, and when faced with difficulties that couldn't be dealt with, one or two people would have to be sacrificed. Baldy was one of those people who could be sacrificed. He also received a lot of money from the company, about the same as Shi Lanhua every month, but the things he did were much less than Shi Lanhua. However, one thing he did was equivalent to several more things Shi Lanhua did. If there weren't any pursuers behind them, the Chinese tunic suit might really kick Baldy out of the car and go back himself. But he couldn't do that now. If something happened, he still needed Baldy to take the bullet. All of you, be careful. We still don't know who has their eyes on us. We have to be very careful, Shi Lanhua said seriously. Shi Lanhua said seriously. He said that to divert everyone's attention from Baldy's second boss. The few of them nodded one after another, indicating that they would definitely pay attention. The Baldy, on the other hand, said casually, You still don't know? It must be that Du Tian from Beijing who slapped his men. To put it bluntly, his men are just a bunch of gangsters from all walks of life. They're not a big deal. If they really follow us, I'll slap them to death. His tone was enough to blow a bull to death. Shi Lanhua stared at Baldy speechlessly. Aren't you afraid that the bull will cause trouble for you? What do you mean? Baldy didn't hear the sarcasm at all. He still looked fearless. So what if it's a bull? Even if it's King cow, I'll still slap it to death. There are no cows. You'll blow all of them to death. The shorty beside Baldy couldn't stand it anymore. Can't you behave and listen to the boss orders? Don't be so self-assertive. I don't care about this. I'm a little tired. The Chinese tunic suit closed his eyes. Lan Hua, I'm going to sleep for a while. Tell them to keep their voices down. You deal with this as you see fit. I trust you. Yes, boss. Shi Lan Hua nodded. Baldy stuck out his tongue in the back and gave Shi Lan Hua a thumbs up. He mouthed silently, Broccoli, you really can do whatever you want. You even got second boss under control. Awesome. I'll follow you from now on. You have to protect me. Silly Baldy Chong didn't know that he was just a scapegoat in Broccoli's eyes, just like second bosses. There was no need to explain what a scapegoat was for. A scapegoat might not be able to help with anything, but once he could, it would be a different story. After the Chinese tunic suit closed his eyes, the atmosphere in the car quieted down. The driver drove seriously in the front without blinking. Before they set off, he had already taken a military pill developed by the United States. It could make a person excited for 72 hours without sleep. As long as there was enough water and food, not sleeping was not a problem. Brother, can we adjust the speed? Shi Lan Hua asked the driver. Go ahead. The driver didn't even turn his head. Shi Lan Hua said, let's speed up to 180 first. Then we'll slow down to 100. Although the man in the Chinese tunic suit had his eyes closed, he still smiled when he heard Shi Lan Hua's arrangement. Not bad, this kid could be trained. Only by doing so could they find out if there was a car following them. On the other side, Su Yun sneered when he saw the car in front of him speed up. He stepped on the gas pedal and sped up as well. You just want to test us? Fine, I'll play with you. Su Yun wasn't the sleepy type. He had rested enough for the past 2 days. Even if he had to chase them for a week, he wouldn't have a problem. Besides, Ma San'er had prepared a few bottles of Red Bull for him. Su Yun raised his hand and Ma San'er handed him the bottles from behind. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.